Okay, testing. 1, 2, 3, testing. Okay, looks like we have a successful. Oh, okay, what do I do now here? We solid? Okay. Ready? Ready? Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the special meeting of the City of Hialeah Planning and Zoning Board meeting for July 9th, 2025. Do apologize for the technical difficulties, but we're back on. Everyone, please rise for the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. Lord, we thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight. We ask that you please watch over us, enlighten us with your wisdom, and allow us to make the right decisions for all those involved. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Y'all may be seated.
Meeting guidelines. The following guidelines apply to today's Planning and Zoning Board meeting. Any person, whether participating via the web platform, telephonic conferencing, or physical presence at City Hall, interested in making comments or opposing questions on any item on the agenda may do so during the meeting. Members of the public may hear the meeting live through telephonic conferencing using any telephone or cell phone service. A smart device or computer are not necessary to participate in the meeting and be joined by phone. All persons participating via the web platform will be muted during the meeting until called upon to be heard. Participation through Zoom requires a computer or smart mobile device with a microphone and web camera. The participant may elect to participate in the meeting using audio only or appear through both audio and video. The video functions of all participants appearing through video will be turned off until called upon to be heard. All lobbyists must register with the Planning and Zoning Board prior to item being heard. A maximum of 4 speakers in favor and 4 speakers in opposition will be allowed to address the Planning and Zoning Board on any item. Each speaker's comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Roll call. Mr. Perez?
Here.
Mr. Mason?
Here.
Mr. Iglesias?
Here.
Mr. Ulloa? Mr. Ulloa is absent. Mr. Morales?
Here.
Mrs. Enriquez? Here. We have a quorum. Administration of oath to all applicants and anyone who will be speaking before the board on any item.
Anyone and everyone that's going to speak in front of the board, please stand, raise your right hand so we can swear you in. That includes those on Zoom.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth before this board? ¿Usted jura o afirma decir la verdad ante esta junta?
Okay, thank you. We may be seated. Let the record show the answer was on the affirmative. Do we have anyone on Zoom? No. Okay.
Summary minutes or a copy of the audio file of the proceedings before the Planning and Zoning Board shall be prepared and submitted to the City Council before its hearing. The Planning and Zoning Board recommendations for the following public hearing requests will be heard by the City Council at a scheduled meeting of Monday, July 28th, 2025. LU1. Small-scale map amendment from low-density residential to medium-density residential. Properties located at 29 East 16th Street, Hialeah zoned R2, 1 and 2 Family Residential District. Applicant, Manny Reus, architect on behalf of 29 East 16th Street LLC.
Name and address, please.
Good evening. I'm Manny Rose Architect. Office is at 18501 Pines Boulevard, Suite 342, Pembroke Pines, Florida.
Thank you, sir.
The applicant is requesting a small-scale map amendment to the city's future land use map to change the designation of the property located at 29 East 16th Street, Hialeah, Florida, from low-density residential to medium-density residential. This land use amendment is being submitted in tandem with a rezoning application requesting a change in zoning from R2, 1 and 2 Family Residential District to R33 Multifamily District to allow for the development of a 3-story, 4-unit multifamily residential building. The subject property is located on the north side of East 16th Street, approximately 2 lots east of Palm Avenue. While the surrounding properties are currently designated low-density residential, the nearby Palm Avenue corridor, just one lot to the west, carries a commercial land use designation. Additionally, properties located on the west side of Palm Avenue, which mirror the site in location and scale as shown on the land use map below, are designated medium-density residential, consistent with the land use classification being requested in this application. The proposed amendment will provide a logical transition in land use intensity between the commercial corridor along Palm Avenue and the lower density residential fabric to the east. The site is also located less than 1 mile, approximately 4 blocks from the Hialeah Metro Rail Station, promoting a walkable, transit-friendly environment that aligns with the city long-range planning goals for urban infill and in expanding the housing topologies. The subject property falls within the service area pump station 54, which is in okay operational status, indicating that the area has the infrastructure capacity to support the proposed increase in residential density without requiring major upgrades or triggering utility service constraints. School parks police concurrency will be reviewed at site plan, and if any deficiencies are found, mitigation shall be in place prior any redevelopment. In a staff assessment, the proposed amendment is consistent with the city comprehensive plan, which encourages increased residential density in areas served by transit within walking distance of commercial corridors and supporting by existing infrastructure. The request supports the city's goal to promote various housing types, sizes, and costs necessary to support the economic vitality of the area. The recommendation is for approval.
Very good, very fast. You did it. Thank you. Manny?
Good evening. This has come up before previously, and it was approved unanimously, so I don't know if I need to make another presentation or if it's just automatic. How are you all going to deal with this? I have
Tell you
no
what.
idea.
Let's make it easy on everybody. Just give us the 10-second version.
Basically, this is a nice, beautiful project, 3 stories, with close proximity to, oh God.
Palm Avenue.
Palm Avenue, sorry about that. And it basically coincides with a lot of the new development that's going in the area, and we feel this is going to be fantastic for the area.
Okay, and you do agree with the conditions in
Yes.
place? Thank you. Comments or questions? Anyone? Up here. Up here.
Okay, I do want to say that we did receive an objection letter from them.
Good evening.
Okay,
So
go ahead.
would you like for me to read it?
Yes,
first?
please, go ahead.
Um,
Yes,
speak?
go ahead.
No, since they're here, they have their 3 minutes to speak.
All right. Name and address and then state your,
Yes, my name is Adis Rodriguez. I'm the owner of the property 35 East 16th Street, next to the ones that they're gonna build. And I'm against the setback that the variance that they're proposing, because they're gonna encroach into my property. My property will become a 0-lot property, diminishing the value of the property tremendously. Besides that, will create a parking nightmare for the entire neighborhood, where before 4 parking spaces are allowed, and now they want 23 or more. And it's gonna be chaos there. Another thing, I have 2 emergency doors collateral to the new property on the side. And in case of any emergency, the firefighters cannot proceed. The medical procedures cannot be, ¿cómo se llama? They cannot be approached because it's so close to the one that they want that not even the door can be opened. Imagine yourself if you have somebody from your family having a heart attack and the paramedics come to get that person with a stretcher, cannot be fit in the door because it's so close to where they're going to build that there is no way to get the person out. That is my proposition.
Okay. That's,
Yeah?
does he want to say anything? Do you want to add something to that or not?
Yes,
Please.
I would like to add something else that a
Na-
property.
Name and address and speak into the microphone,
Yeah.
please.
My name is Bernardino Rodriguez, and my address is 401 Totoloche Drive, and I'm also the owner of the property at 35 East 16th Street. And what I want to add on is the fact that our property line will diminish, and also not only will diminish, but the value of our product will go down. And I don't know how they're going to be able to get from 4 parking space to from 0 to 23, where everything else in the area is an R2, and now they're going to do an R3, 3-story high. And this is pretty much, they're trying to put something in that little lot that won't fit. And it will the only way it will fit at our own expense, and that is not fair. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. I do have one question for you. You mentioned that it's going to make your property a 0 lot line. Why is your property, in the microphone, please? Microphone.
Through the chair.
Yes.
They're
just
going to
wanna-
decrease so much the setback that is almost 0 lot.
Okay.
They're going to encroach
How is
into
it
my
go-
property.
How is it going to encroach in your property? They have their own property. They're not going to go in your property.
Yeah, but something that was 10 feet, they want to do 4 feet
Okay,
or 6 feet. So
so
they're gonna-
my question, help me understand this, okay? Did you move your building? You have not moved your building, right? You have not moved your property line, correct? Okay, so they're going to build, or they're proposing to build within their property line.
yeah, but they're going to
Hear me out. They're going to build within their property line. Setbacks have been approved in the previous meeting, okay? They're not going to encroach on your property unless you physically picked up the building and moved it closer to the property line. Do you?
Yeah, we
see-
understand. We comprehend the way you're coming from and what you're telling us. However, the fact of the matter is that we were not told about the previous meeting that those decisions were made, and we were, right here, right now, we are at a loss because we didn't have the time and the place and to rebut their argument at that time. That is what.
Through the chair, just a few points of clarification.
Yes.
So right now, we're going through the land use matter, okay? So we are not talking specifically about the project. Another point that I want to clarify is you mentioned 23. This project is for 4 units, 4 residential units. So I just, as a point of clarification, whenever you refer to 23 what?
23 parking spaces. If you read the page, the letter that we received by mail, in the Spanish section, it says 23 units.
No, it's a multifamily. It says 0 to 23. Now, the councilman is staying, the councilman, right?
No, ma'am, I'm the planning and zoning director.
Oh,
But I just want to
plan-
clarify
sorry,
exactly
planning and zoning
what,
director.
right.
It's addressing the fact that from 2 and 4, now it's going to be 8. So if it is 8, it
No,
will
no, no, no,
coincide
no, no,
parking
no,
spaces.
no, no, no.
Oh.
We just want to make sure that you understand in clear terms, in easy terms, that this is not 23 parking spaces.
No,
This is
no.
not 8 units. So And first, the item that we are hearing right now is the land use. It's not the project itself. After 2 or 3 projects, we're gonna deal with the zoning, and I will ask you if you can also participate on that, but this is the land use, and this project is for 4 residential units only. Whenever we discuss that, so I want to
Yeah.
clarify what you understood from the project.
No, we understood your wording and what you said, and we understand that pretty well, and that you have been very clear the way you have expressed yourself. But the fact of the matter is that this is an R2 with 4 parking spaces, and now it's gonna become 8. So it's gonna have twice as much parking spaces as before. And that is the problem, and that is that
Not
is the
23.
problem that
Okay.
we have. Because if you look at the lot size, it's about 66,750 square feet. And pretty much it's simple. How far are you gonna go? It's gonna be like a skyline building,
Okay,
3
just,
story high?
okay,
Yes, sir.
just for the record, so that you understand where we are. This is a land use application. What a land use application is, in a nutshell, is what can fit in that lot. Do you understand? Okay, right now, say let's just assume there's a house there, okay? And they're proposing to demolish the house and rezone it to 2 houses. And I'm just giving you an example. I'm not telling you based on facts, okay? If that proposal fits the usage of the lot, okay, he has the right to apply for it. He has the right to build based upon approval from the board and from the council, okay? As far as your 0 lot line is concerned, I'm at a loss. I can't,
Well, pretty much, I believe that you're correct in your last statement about the single lot is concerned. But our objection is that they're trying to put something in a lot that was meant to be an R2, where we have not had prior zoning arrangement before and planning in a lot size that is for an R2, and everything around it is R2. And they're trying to build a 3-story high building, which it'll pretty much it will contrast with the houses in the area.
okay. Okay.
And that is the problem that we have.
I repeat myself.
Yes.
This is but the first step. This is a reconnaissance operation. This is basically, he is testing the waters, if you will. What can fit in that lot that complies with code, that complies with ordinances, and still maintains a family-oriented zoning, okay? That's where we are right now. There's no plans yet.
There isn't a companion item for the rezoning, so we do have
Yeah.
plans,
Okay.
which is coming next. So that is what, I think the land use, as the report states, it's compatible with the neighborhood. It's for residential use purposes only. So it's going from low to medium residential only. So there is no mixed use component. There is not a commercial component. The transitional nature, it's for the next step. So this is what we are to consider right now, Mr. Chair. It's just the transition from low to medium density. The use is maintained, is residential only. Okay, the increase of what you mentioned is for the density. That is correct. So they're going from low density to medium density. That is what they're considering right now, that change only. No setbacks now, no nothing. They're going to hear it in the next 4 items.
When is the next meeting?
No, it's tonight, but in the next.
The next item.
The next.
Once we close this item, it'll go on to them. Okay, and just so that you understand, because I see you're a little confused there, up to 23 parking spaces or whatever.
No.
The word, the word is, the key word is up to,
Up to.
up to.
Up to
Doesn't mean,
23.
no, does not mean 23. Up
to.
to, the code will allow up to,
Up to.
based on the capacity of the lot and of the surrounding neighborhood. Do you understand, Anna? Doesn't mean they're gonna put 23 in there. No, if it doesn't fit, it doesn't fit. Like, you know, like O.J. Simpson, if the glove don't fit, you must
It fit.
quit.
What
It
about-
fit. Oh, yeah, it says it fit. But yeah, we're not against progress. We are for progress. So, but you know, there had to be a limit to what it had to be done.
And that's,
And I hope that they take into consideration and into accounting what's going on and what's transpiring here.
thank
And
you,
our concerns, you know?
thank you,
Thank you very much.
thank you. Manny, you say you want to say something real quick?
Yes, I'm at a loss here. This has already been approved previously.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know why they weren't notified or whatever, but we're meeting all the code requirements for land use and for rezoning.
Right.
So I'm coming up again for rezoning, so I guess they're gonna come up again and whatever, but I don't have anything else to say.
Okay, thank you. Any comments or questions from the board? Anyone else in the audience? Close the public hearing. What's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to approve. Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Iglesias, second by Mr. Mason. Mr. Morales?
Yes.
Mr. Iglesias?
Yes.
Mr. Perez?
Yes.
Mrs. Enriquez?
Yes.
Mr. Mason?
Yes.
Item has been approved with conditions.
Thank you.
Or no conditions, I'm sorry,
conditions.
just approved. LU two, small scale map amendment from residential office to commercial. Properties located at 705 East 8th Avenue, Hialeah zoned RO Residential Office District. Applicant Octavio Santurio, architect on behalf of Marble LLC.
Hi, good afternoon,
Yeah.
gentlemen and ladies. My name is Octavio Santurio. My office is at 6262 Southwest 40th Street, Suite 3, South Miami, Florida. And I'm here for this item.
From now on, I'm gonna call you Mr. Suntan Village.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
Mr. Chair, this is another item that it has been heard already by the board.
Right.
This property is located at the northeast corner of East 8th Avenue, Legion Road, and East 7th Street. The parcel was subdivided in 1952 as part of a Section 5 of the Suntan Village subdivision, according to Miami-Dade County plating records. The same year, one-story single-family residence was constructed on site and maintained and remained in use until 1999. At the time, the property had a low residential designation. According to our records, the land use designation is residential office. Attaching the map below, allowing for a property to be rezoned to the compatible RO residential office zoning district. City records indicate that the property was redeveloped in 2010 to its current condition under the residential office land use designation. The current request seeks to change the property land use to commercial. While this change will expand the permitted uses on the property, the submitted site plan indicates that the existing site improvements will remain unchanged. The intent is to expand the allowable use to accommodate the operation of an adult daycare center. This proposal will require a change of use and the property must meet concurrency requirements. However, since the site is already fully developed, only minor impacts are anticipated. Staff has no objections to the request to the land use, the land use designation to commercial. Staff recommends approval.
Thank you. Octavio?
Ms. Ashburn said it better. Like I said last time, she touched all the points, and I'm I'm here to actually back up what she had said. That it's an existing building. It was zoned RO. It's right on Lejeune Road. It's our surrounding properties are B1, and that's what we're requesting. And there'll
Thank you.
be no improvement to the property except the use.
Thank you. Comments or questions from the board? Anyone in the audience have a comment or question on this item? Closes the part of public hearing. What's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to approve.
Second that motion.
We had a motion by Mrs. Enriquez, second by Mr. Iglesias. Mr. Morales?
Yes.
Mr. Perez?
Yes.
Mr. Mason?
Yes.
Mrs. Enriquez? Yes. Mr. Iglesias?
Yes.
Item has been approved.
Thank you very much.
LU three, small scale map amendment from low density residential to transit oriented development district. Properties located at 924 East 23rd Street, Hialeah zoned R1, one family district. Applicant Cesar Mestre, Esquire, on behalf of 1356 West 76th Street LLC.
Good afternoon, Cesar Mestre with offices at 8105 Northwest 155th Street, Miami Lakes, Florida.
Good evening. Go ahead.
Through the chair, this item has not been heard by this board before. The subject property is located on the south side of East 23rd Street between East 9th and East 10th Avenues and falls within the Transit-Oriented Development TOD Hialeah Transfer Station District Master Plan area. The property is currently designated as a low-density residential on the city's future land use map and is improved with a single-family residence. This application is accompanied by a rezoning request seeking to rezone the property to permit the development of a medium-density multifamily residential building. While the outcome of the application is under a separate consideration, the current request for a land use amendment is being evaluated on its own merits in relationship to the adopted TOD master plan. The TOD Transfer Station Master Plan aims to intensify development around the Hialeah Transfer Station Transit Hub, which serves Tri-Rail, Metro Rail, and the future Coastal Link connections. The site proximity to the Hialeah Transfer Station, which houses both Metro Rail and Tri-Rail, makes it ideal candidate for an urban density intensification. Its location supports the goal of the TOD Transfer Station Master Plan by promoting a more walkable environment, providing multiple transportation options, and encouraging an active and urban living setting. Ideally, parcels within a certain proximity of the TOD Transfer Station Master Plan are intended to transition through land use and zoning changes gradually and in sequence, protecting from east and west, which serves as a central spine for redevelopment activity. The city discouraged an abrupt introduction of high-density development that is incompatible with the neighborhood properties of significantly lower intensity. This policy aims to orderly growth that respect the existing urban fabric while fulfilling the long-term vision for the TOD master plan. The parcel under this application measures 13,800 square feet, approximately 0.316 acres. The approval of this land use designation alone does not grant development rights. Any future proposal must comply with the zoning requirements and cite specific context. The site is within the Southeast Transportation Concurrency Management Area, and concurrency review that take place at the site plan process ensures that traffic, open space, police, school capacity, and infrastructure demand generated by the land use change will remain within acceptable level of service. The property is currently serviced by pump station number 11, which is in okay status, and both water and sewer infrastructure meet the adopted level of service. The proposed land use amendment is consistent with the city comprehensive plan, including the following elements. From the future land use element, goal number 4, the associated policies promoting infill, TOD, and transit accessibility. From the transportation element, goal 1, objective 1.5, promoting multimodal transit, policies 1.5.3 and 1.5.4. Housing element, goal 1, objectives 1.1 and 2.2, supporting increased housing options near transit. Infrastructure and concurrency element policy ensures adequate public facility. Given its location within the TOD Hialeah Transfer Station, consistency with this application is consistent with the city's planning goal and the availability of infrastructure and services. The request for the land use amendment is recommended for approval.
Thank you. Mr. Mestre?
Yes, as she said, there's a companion matter with this, which will be the rezoning, which is item 5. And most of my presentation will be regarding the rezoning. As far as the land use goes, this is within the TOD master plan area. It is consistent with the comprehensive plan of the city. Their services, infrastructure are available. So I would ask you to recommend approval of the land use amendment.
Still having technical difficulties.
Well-
Bear with me.
Do I have to repeat myself?
No,
Good.
the echo will take care of that. Okay, okay. See, I'm having technical difficulties. Call fat fingers. Okay, okay. I got it. Thank you. Okay, sorry about that. Not a good day. Comments or questions from the board?
To the chair.
Yes.
Is that whole area gonna be TOD? So eventually it's gonna be like high density or what's the plan?
So it is within the vicinity of the TOD. Eventually, that is the goal. There are 3 tiers that it was recommended within the master plan, the TOD master plan. So whenever you call high, density, within the master plan, there were 3 tiers: the low, the medium, and the high. Of course, the farther away that you are from the station, the tapering down of the density should, be in place.
Thank you.
You good? Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone in the audience who would like to make a comment or question on this item? No? Closes our public hearing. What is the pleasure of the board?
Motion to approve? Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Iglesias, second by Mr. Mason. Mr. Morales?
Yes.
Mr. Perez?
Yes.
Mr. Mason?
Yes.
Mrs. Enriquez?
Yes.
Mr. Iglesias?
Yes.
Item has been approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, this concludes the land use part of this special meeting. We will now transition over to the regular planning and zoning board meeting. Anyone and everyone that has already sworn in, you're good to go. We'll just go ahead and read everything to the record.
Oh, item number 1, approval of planning and zoning board summary agenda of June 11th, 2025 as submitted.
Motion to approve?
Second that motion?
We have a motion by Mrs. Enriquez, second by Mr. Iglesias. Mr. Mason?
Yes.
Mr. Iglesias?
Yes.
Mr. Morales?
Yes.
Mrs. Enriquez?
Yes.
Mr. Perez?
Yes.
Item has been approved. A written decision and resolution will be prepared and presented for review to the city council. The city council is authorized to affirm with conditions, or override the decisions by resolution. After the resolution is adopted, contact a member of the city clerk's office to obtain a copy of the final decision and resolution. Upon your receipt of the final decision and resolution, contact the building department to obtain your required building permit. Summary minutes or a copy of the audio files, the proceedings before the Planning and Zoning Board shall be prepared and submitted to the City Council before its hearing. The Planning and Zoning Board recommendations for the following public hearing requests will be heard by the City Council at the scheduled meeting of Monday, July 28th, 2025. So item number 2 just needs to be withdrawn.
Item number 2 is withdrawn.
So item number 2 is withdrawn, so no action.
Okay.
What does that mean?
Meaning that was already heard by City Council because this didn't need to be re-advertised. So right-of-way closures, they don't need to be re-advertised and they don't need to put signs. So on June 24th, they went ahead and they read this item into the record and they discussed it. That's what that means. So no action for item number 2. Item number 3. Repeal.
So that item was properly noticed the first time around.
Yes.
The code does not require the same notice requirements for the vacation as it does for other rezoning and land use items. Therefore, we did not have to rehear it today. It passed and it was legally noticed properly.
Thank you.
Item number 3. Repeal and rescind City of Hialeah, Florida Ordinance 2011-16. Rezoning property from RO Residential Office District to B1 Highly Restricted Retail District. Variance permit to allow front setback of 6 feet where 20 feet are required. Allow street side setback of 5.5 feet where 10 feet are required. Allow 12 parking spaces where 13 parking spaces are required. Property is located at 705 East 8th Avenue, Hialeah zoned RO Residential Office District. Applicant, Octavio Santurio, architect on behalf of Marble LLC.
Thank you. Again,
Octavio Santurio with offices at 6262 Southwest 40th Street, South Miami. I'm here today to ask
okay. Octavio.
that this, sorry.
Let her read it into the record.
Oh, okay. She can do better than me.
Through the chair,
Yes.
this is an item that also has been heard by the board, and this is the companion item from the land use that we just heard. This property is located at the northeast corner of East 8th Avenue, Legion Road, and East 7th Street. The parcel was subdivided in 1952 as part of the Section 5 of the Santan Village subdivision, according to Miami-Dade County plating records. The same year, the property was developed with one-story single-family residence, which remain in use as such until 1999. In 1999, pursuant to Ordinance 99-17, the property was rezoned from R1, one-family residential, to RO, residential office, along with the granting of certain variances. However, Ordinance number 99-17 was later repealed and replaced by Ordinance number 07-09, which again rezoned the property from R1 to RO and granted similar variances. The latter ordinance permitted the development of the property into its current form, a two-story building with approximately 3,545 square feet of building area. In 2011, the property was approved to operate with 6 occupational licenses instead of 2 typically allowed under Ordinance number 2011-16. The property is currently operating as a medical facility under the name of Los Amigos and has active violations on record with the fire department. This application proposes to rezone the property from RO, residential office, to B1, highly restricted retail district, in order to allow the operation of an adult daycare center. The existing RO zoning only permits professional services and office uses. Since the existing two-story structure and site improvements are to remain, and because the B1 district has different development standards, this application includes requests to reduce front and side setbacks, as well as a reduction of 1 parking space from the required total. These variances are procedural in nature, and as the site has been operating in its current form since 2010. The rezoning request is compatible with surrounding areas, as properties zoned C2 and B1 are located directly to the north and west, while low-density residential areas are located to the south and east. The proposed adult care center is a low-intense use appropriate for a transitional location. Staff has no objection to the rezoning and associated variances, provided that the property is developed and used in accordance with the plan prepared by Octavio Santurio, architect, signed and dated April 14, 2024. Recommendation: approval with conditions.
Thank you.
Basically, in a nutshell, it's an existing building that was occupied by the medical offices, as she elegantly expressed. And we wanted to change it to a B1 zoning, which allows a adult daycare. And so I humbly ask this board to consider this change.
Thank you, sir. Comments or questions from the board? Anyone in the audience? Comment or question? We still have no one on Zoom, right? Okay, so I'm just gonna admit that. All right, closes the part of the public hearing. What's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to approve?
With conditions, second that motion.
Okay, so we had a motion by Mrs. Zarica, second by Mr. Iglesias. Mr. Perez?
Yes.
Mr. Mason?
Yes.
Mr. Iglesias?
Yes.
Mrs. Zarica?
Yes.
Mr. Morales?
Yes.
Item has been approved with conditions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item number 4, repeal and rescind City of Hialeah, Florida ordinance number 2024-40. Special use permit to allow the expansion of the neighborhood business district overlay in relation to a proposed multifamily development including 39 residential units. Variance permit to allow 39 multifamily units, 100% with an area less than 700 square feet, where 700 square feet is the minimum required, and only 25% of the residential units may have a minimum area of 500 square feet. Allow residential use only where mixed use is required, and to allow residential use on the ground floor where residential use is only allowed above the ground floor. Allow 25% pervious area where 30% is the minimum required. Variance permit to allow partial waiver of the minimum landscape requirements through landscape mitigation as per section 98-2235. And to release the existing declaration of restricted covenants recorded in official record book 34239, page 2016 of the public records of Miami-Dade County, Florida. Properties are located at 308 East 9th Street, 330 East 9th Street, and 342 East 9th Street. Hialeah Zone CR Commercial Residential District. Applicant Hugo Arza, Esquire, on behalf of 21 Plaza LLC.
Good evening, Hugo Arza, 701 Brickell Avenue, representing the applicant.
Thank you.
Again, through the chair, this is an item that it has been heard by the board already. The properties in this application are located on the south side of East 9th Street between East 4th Avenue and East 3rd Avenue. 3 lots encompasses this application, which has been unified according to an existing recorded unity of title. The consolidated properties include 0.77 acres with a central business district land use and commercial residential CR zoning, and were improved with with commercial building, but the sites are currently vacant since the commercial buildings had been demolished recently. The consolidated properties receive an approval according to ordinance number 2024-040, granting the expansion of the neighborhood business district through a special use permit, and granting variances to reduce the size of the residential units, reduce the front setback, and allowed for parking variances of 65 parking spaces for the 33 residential units and for 1,931 square feet of commercial area within the mixed-use proposal. These variances were granted with conditions to provide a declaration of restrictions and a parking management plan. This application is requesting to rescind the repeal ordinance number 2024-040 and release the recorded declaration of restriction recorded in the official records of Miami-Dade County, referencing the legal notice of this application. The new proposal for the consolidated property is for a 3-story building, fully residential, with 39 multifamily units and 57 parking spaces provided. This proposal shall receive a SUP for the expansions of the NBD, and the project is provided the following incentives to increase the density and height for the project. 1 point provided for a low-rise development with surface parking, including design elements such as balconies, landscaping buffers, fence, and gates. 1 point, it's for significant amenities such as dog and domino park, and 0.5 point for 2 art pieces on each driveway entrance. In addition, this application is requesting a variance to allow the property to be fully residential, where NBD requires to have a mixed-use component, and is requesting to develop all the residential units at 620 square feet, where the minimum is 700 square feet. The property is also proposing a 5% reduction in the pervious area required, providing only 25% of pervious areas. In contrast to the previous application, this project is providing more than the minimum parking requirements, since the parking were reduced according to the latest NBD ordinance. Therefore, 1 parking space per unit is required, and 1 parking per every 10 parking spaces per guest are required, yielding to 43 parking spaces, and the property is providing 57 parking spaces. There is a 10-foot front area to provide a minimum landscaping buffer to the street. This landscaping buffer shall be filled with canopy trees with a minimum 10 feet to 12 feet height and 4-inch caliper at planting. Therefore, a fully landscaping and irrigation plan shall be submitted at site plan. This landscaping buffer will assist with the facade and the lower level treatment, since there is not active ground level. Staff is providing the following conditions for this project: provide a declaration of restriction to develop the property according to the plan submitted by Albert Gonzalez Architect, PA, dated August 27, 2024, and provide a full landscaping and irrigation plans at site plan. Recommendation: approval with conditions.
Thank you. We heard this already, right? Okay. Hugo?
Again, Mr. Chairman, Hugo Arza, 701 Brickell Avenue, joined by my colleague Erica Adams. Yes, you've heard this item before, so it was unanimously recommended for approval to move to the council. So I'm happy to skip through. You get a great presentation already from your zoning director. We are proposing 39 residential units on approximately 2 acres on East 9th Street, and we work with staff. One of the requests was that we shift the building a little bit to provide for additional landscaping, the landscaping buffer in the front. We were able to work with Claudia and her team to secure that. So we come before you with a recommendation of approval. We accept the conditions, and unless there's anyone else in the audience or all of you that have any questions, I'm happy to let you move on to other items that you haven't heard completely, but we of course have our presentation if you wish for us to go through.
Thank you. Comments or questions from the board? Anyone in the audience have a comment or question on this item? Okay, close to the part of public hearing. What's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to approve with conditions.
Okay. So we had a motion by Mrs. Enriquez, second by Mr. Iglesias. Mr. Mason?
Yes.
Mr. Iglesias?
Yes.
Mrs. Enriquez?
Yes.
Mr. Morales?
Yes.
Mr. Perez?
Yes.
Item has been approved with conditions.
Thank you all. Enjoy the rest of your recess.
Some recess.
Item number 5, rezoning from R1 One Family District to TOD Transit Oriented Development District. Variance permit to allow a single-use multifamily residential building with 23 units where a vertical mix of uses is required. Allow front setback of 15.7 feet where 17 feet are required for the ground floor. Allow front setback of 10.7 feet where 17 feet are required for balconies fronting East 23rd Street. And allow 6.5% pervious area where 10% is the minimum required. Property is located on 924 East 23rd Street, Hialeah, Zones R1, One Family District. Applicant, Cesar Mestre, Esquire, on behalf of 1356 West 76th Street, LLC.
Good afternoon, Cesar Mestre, offices at 8105 Northwest 155th Street, Miami Lakes, Florida.
Through the chair board, this is an application that it has not been heard by the board before.
Thank
The
you.
subject property is located on the south side of East 23rd Street between East 9th and East 10th Avenues within the boundaries of the Hialeah Transfer Station Transit-Oriented Development TOD Master Plan. The property measures 13,800 square feet or 0.317 acres and is currently zoned R1, One Family District. It is improved with what appears to function as a duplex serving two addresses, 920 and 924 East 23rd Street, through no microfilm documentation confirming this configuration was found. However, both addresses are reflected in the city's GIS zoning database. This application has a companion land use amendment item requesting to change the property designation from low-density residential to transit-oriented development, TOD. That application will be evaluated, and it was evaluated already on its own merits under the goals and policies of the comprehensive plan. The applicant is requesting to rezone the property from R1 to TOD in order to construct a four-story multifamily residential building with a mid-rise density of 75 dwelling units per acre. The proposed building is approximately 60 feet, 8 inches in height, and it will include 23 residential units, broken down as follows: 3 two-story buildings, 17 one-bedroom units, and 3 studio units. I'm sorry, it was 3 two-bedroom units, 17 one-bedroom units, and 3 studio units. The project provides a total of 25 parking spaces, allocating 1 parking space per studio, 1 one-bedroom unit, and 1.5 spaces per 2-bedroom unit, consistent with the TOD parking regulations. The rezoning request is accompanied by a variance application seeking the following: allowed a single-use residential building where the vertical mix of uses is required in the TOD zoning regulations. Allow a front setback of 15.7 feet where 17 feet are required for the ground floor. Allowed a balcony front setback of 10.7 feet where 17 are required, and allow 6.5 pervious area where the minimum 10% is required. While the proposed development reflects architectural quality and aligns in spirit with the goals and the Hialeah Transfer TOD Master Plan, namely encouraging transit-adjacent density, walkability, and provides for multiple transportation options, the current context of the site presents a key challenge. The subject property is entirely surrounded by R1 zone lots, all of which are developed with single-family homes. The proposed building will be situated between 2 one-story single-family residence to the east and west, creating a stark and abrupt contrast in density and height. Although the site is located within the Hialeah Transfer TOD Master Plan boundary, the plan designates this particular parcel for low-rise development, not mid-rise. Additionally, the site's placement as an interior lot further magnifies the inconsistency in scale and lacks a proper transitional design. In a more proper scenario, a development of this intensity will be more suitable for a corner property, where transitional densities are more easily absorbed and integrated into the urban fabric. The city discouraged premature intensification that fails to consider the surrounding land use context. The planning strategy for this area envisions a transitional transformation radiating from East 25th Street closer to the station, to the transit station, the central spine of the TOD district, and a progressing in a cohesive pattern. This measured approach avoids disrupting the character of the existing low-density neighborhoods while supporting long-term TOD goals. Therefore, a density of maximum 36 dwelling units per acre and a maximum height of 3-story is recommended for this specific site. This recommendation will yield up to 11 residential units within a 3-story project. While the proposed project will likely enhance curb appeal and introduce quality housing stock, its current location within a stable single-family neighborhood makes it incompatible at this time. The proposed rezoning and associated variances introduce an intensity and a scale that is inconsistent with the character of the surrounding neighborhood. While the site is within the TOD boundaries and near significant transit infrastructure, its interior lot location, surrounded by R1 zoning and lack of transitional buffering, renders the proposal incompatible with an immediate context. For the reasons stated above, the Planning and Zoning recommends denial for the rezoning and the variance request.
Thank you. Hi, Mr. Mystery. Make
Thank-
it stick.
Thank you. As you guys know, when I see a recommendation of denial, I take that very serious. And I try to work with staff to see if we can work something out. But when I believe the analysis is flawed, and I'll explain to you why, I insist that I'm coming before you and presenting the case the way we see it to see if you guys agree with us or with the recommendation of denial. The property is at 924 East 23rd Street. Next slide. It is the second property off of East 9th Avenue on the south side of 23rd Street. It's 13,800 square feet. Right now it has, and if you noticed in the planner's presentation, said that it operates or is supposed to operate something along the lines of a single family home, but it has two addresses. And this you're going to see is kind of the theme throughout this neighborhood and why I believe the thinking process is not correct, because the facts are not the way that they should be. Next slide. This is the land use map and the zoning map, just showing you where the property is located. In these maps, the pink is things that have already been rezoned and re-amended land use to be TOD. The red is commercial, and the yellow are the residential properties, just to show you that. Now, if you remember, part of the reason is that us building a 4-story building, the recommendation would be a 3-story building, but building a 4-story building on this property is incompatible because the neighborhood is a stable, single-family neighborhood. So although we will increase the curb appeal, we have good architecture, we will provide quality housing stock, it is inconsistent because this is a stable, single-family neighborhood. So I'd like to show you pictures of what is there and ask you if you believe that this is a stable, single-family neighborhood. We can all look at the map and we see that the map says R1. So each one of these properties that you're going to see photographs of are supposed to have one residential property. You're going to see over and over that a lot of these properties have what appear to be additions on top of additions on top of additions, which you can decide for yourself what that means. Here's one of the properties located on the corner. You see several of the doors that are located on the sides. Next slide. And all of these are properties that are on our block. If you see the picture on the left, the brown roof is the original house. You see on the side the addition with a number of air conditioners, a number of doors. On the other side, you see the property next to it. You can see obviously the additions, the cars in the backyard, the cement. Next slide. Again, if you look at the one on the left, the top property, it seems to have been built to the property line. It seems to have at least 2 or 3 additional doors in the back, but there's not even a backyard on that property. The one next to it below is with the boats. You see the additions. The one behind the one that doesn't have a yard, as you can see, you can count at least 4 or 5 different additions. Again, cement, no yard. There's no yard. There's no setback here at all. The one on the right, same thing. The one on the top, you can see that the yard is full of different types of additions and different types of things that are going on there. Next slide. More of the same, like I'm telling you, these are all of the properties that are located in this block. Next slide. More of the same. You can see the one on the left side, the small house originally, additions to the side, additions to the back, an additional ancillary structure located in the yard. Same thing on the right side. So as you can see, over and over and over these properties, slide number 10. This one to me is the award winner. The one on the corner, you see the original house. You see additions behind it, additions below it, additions in the back. And then to get the extra bonus points, we have the trailer on the corner that is set up there, and I'm sure somebody's living in there. So that is what we represent and believe is not a single, stable, single-family neighborhood. What we are proposing, next slide, is this building right here. If you see, the building has a staircase that's in light green. The top of that is where the 60 feet come in. The building itself is not 60 feet high. As you can see, it's a modern, nice-looking building. The planner herself said that it would increase the curb appeal. It is projected to be 4 stories, 23 units, 3 2-bedroom apartments, 17 1-bedroom apartments, 3 studio apartments, and we comply with parking with 25 parking spaces pursuant to the TOD district. Let's go to slide number 14, please. Business people pay attention to what goes on in different cities and what goes on in planning and zoning, what goes on in the council, so they can make their plans and they can try to do something to help the city and help themselves. So I think consistency is something that is really, really important. On this slide, the slide on the left is what was the proposed master TOD transfer station map. This is the map that shows you in dark blue. These are supposed to be high-rise buildings. The medium blue are the mid-sized buildings, and the light blue is the low-rise buildings. The yellow is supposed to be residential, okay? This map shows you the boundaries. I don't think all the boundaries, but it shows you most of the boundaries of the TOD. It goes down to 17th Street East and 11th Avenue, and it goes up to 33rd Street from East 8th Avenue to East 11th. The reason I have that arrow there on 30th Street and the corner of East 8th is, although you see that it's a yellow on this proposed map, if you look on the map to the left, to the right, you see that it has a different color. This has been already approved for TOD. So a property that was designated by the master plan as residential has already been approved, has already gone through the process of being TOD. Next slide. That property that was already approved, this is the building that was approved for that. It is 4 stories, very similar to the one that we are proposing today. So a building that was designated by the plan to be residential, like a house, has been approved, has gone through the process, is 4 stories, and is located next to all of the other single-family homes. Next slide. Again, on the left side is the proposed master plan with the blue, medium blue, light blue, and yellow colors showing the different densities that are supposed to be followed, correct? If you look on the right side, you're going to see the current Hialeah zoning map. The pink is properties that have already been approved for TOD. You see an arrow. The arrow is located on East 10th Avenue and East 28th Street on both maps. on the map showing which properties are supposed to be high, medium, and low, you'll see that there's only a mid-blue located on East 10th Avenue and 28th. The rest of that block, except for the two lots on the east side, are all supposed to be yellow. So that means low or residential. But if you look on the map of what's already been approved, you'll see that the entire block was already approved for TOD. And you see that there's 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks that have already been approved, although they're different than what was recommended in the master plan diagram. So again, consistency. These are the big buildings that are being built out there. They're 10 stories. I honestly don't know how many stories the one on 28th Street is or the one on 29th Street, but I would venture to say that it's more than 4. Next slide. This is just showing you the area of where the lot is located. This is on the left side, you have 25th Street. On the right side, you have 24th Street, 22nd Street. On the bottom, you have East 8th Avenue, and on the top, you have East 10th Avenue. This little square, which has been designated TOD, and is where we're trying to redevelop this pursuant to that area. This area, this is just my observation, would be perfect for the entire area to be medium or high density. It's blocked off completely from everything else. You see it right here. You have railroad tracks, you have the industrial area, you have 25th Street, and you have the gym. So again, I don't take the recommendation of denial lightly, but I really think that we have demonstrated to you that this is not a stable, single-family neighborhood. If it was, and if my pictures showed something different, I wouldn't even be here arguing this. And I think most telling of all is this hearing has been posted twice. Once when I went out there with the signs and put them myself, and second time when the city went out to correct the sign issue and posted it again. Since I didn't see anybody here for the land use issue, I don't think there's anybody here objecting to the rezoning. The reason nobody's objecting to a 4-story building going next to their property is because these are not single-family homes, and these folks there are okay with this. So based on that, we would happy to answer any questions. We ask you for a recommendation of approval. And we don't see too much of a difference between a 3-story building or a 4-story building. And we ask you to take that into consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Mester. Is there any comments or questions from the board? From the board? Okay, do you have something to add?
Just a few things, but I want the board to discuss until.
Okay. Can you back those slides up? I'll tell you, keep going. Stop, no, okay, right there, that pink on the right, the little pink square with the arrow, is that the proposed address, or is this the one that you were talking about that was already
That's
built?
the one that has already been approved.
What is the address on that, do you know?
3011 East 8th Avenue. I believe 3011 East 8th Avenue.
Is that the one right in the corner of 32nd and the
30
quadplex?
31 Street and East 8th Avenue. I think it's boarded up right now. I don't think they've started construction yet.
Okay. Go back a little bit
I
more.
believe there's a duplex a little bit north of it.
Keep going, keep going. Keep going a little bit more, right there. Okay. Picture to the left. And actually these two pictures, this is my concern. but mainly to the left, that blue house. It seems to me here that, now, you know that way back when the city released the alley. Basically, 12-foot wide,
Correct.
and the city not relinquished, but released to the homeowners half of the alley. So 6 foot for one house, 6 foot for the other house. Okay. It looks like these people built right up to the power lines there.
Yes.
Okay. That's okay on both sides. Go up a little more. Right there. Okay, one more. And now I'm just visualizing here. Since this item has not been heard, we do need to afford him the proper time. Okay. Picture on the left. Where's the alley there? Where's the easement? There isn't. Okay.
I would venture to say that based on these photographs that none of this was done by code.
You see where I'm going, okay? I see issues here that helps me substantiate your claim that it is not stable. I mean, some of these pictures that you've shown here with different color roofs, different additions, that's definitely been added on throughout the years. Has it been legal? Has it been permitted? Only staff can tell me. I don't know. I'm not privy to that information. I'm just going by what is shown here in your presentation. Okay. So again, these are things that I scroll up a little bit more. Okay, wait. A little bit. Yeah, that, like right there on the left, white roof, brown roof, red roof, all the way back there. That's right up to the property line, isn't it?
If you look at number 9 on the right, it's really,
What slide number is that? No, that's
the one on the right, takes up the entire property. Both houses take up the entire property.
okay. Anyway, I just wanted to point that out to the board and to anyone in the audience that may not be clear about what's going on here, and also to the planner that there's the stable family area. It's
Through the chair.
yes, I see what you're saying, but
Mhm.
we also have to go by actual pictures.
Sure,
So please.
definitely. So just a few points, regarding the whole application. Unfortunately, the lack of enforcement, it doesn't mean that this is not a single family home. Unfortunately, that is a point that we all know, and we had experience in the city of Hialeah. And another point to the battle is, of course, the culture issue regarding what it has been developed. I think I'm not going to be the last one probably to talk about efficiencies and how they had been handled for the last 40 years probably in the city. So that is one point regarding that. Another point made by Mr. Mestre is the fact of precedent. I just want to remind the board that every single independent application has to be heard on its own merits, okay? The property described, correct, was 3011 East 8th Avenue. It is a corner lot, and I will suspect, even though I wasn't part of that analysis, that it has a very completely different sets of characteristics compared to this middle block lot. And the last point is regarding the parcels that they had been receiving a TOD designation. It is the fact that the master plan encourage and provides for incentives for parcels assemblage. So whenever you have an entire block being developed, it's very different whenever you are analyzing a single site in a block. So the fact that these parcels, they had been assembly throughout the entire project, it takes a different set of analysis and different type of position whenever they're presenting those projects. So those are the 3 points that I wanted to make.
Through the
Thank you.
chair.
Go ahead.
Is the denial because it's between two houses?
It's a mid-block. It's a series of things. It's a mid-block. We consider, as we mentioned, and I can say that it is a beautiful project, not for that location, not for this time in place. And that's why we included also a recommendation, if they were to move forward with this, is to develop it as a low rise within the TOD. And that's why we also recommend approval for the land use component, because we believe that that area, because of the proximity to the stations and all the other characteristics that are surrounding and around that area, it is fit for TOD. We believe that is not the right density and height for that specific middle lot.
Thank you.
So if I understand you correctly, because it was approved under the land use, your concern is the height and or the density of the proposed building,
More than the height, actually the density.
the density, okay.
Correct.
So how many units are you proposing?
23.
23. What would be your suite number?
11.
That's a big difference.
Of course, we can discuss it. That is what recommended actually on the plans, and we can work with the applicant at any point in the future.
Okay. Mr. Mestre, your take on that? Read my thoughts, right?
Before I address that, the one that I always have an issue with is the enforcement, and I've heard that over and over and over.
Right.
And I see this as she said, it's something that's been happening for 40 years. And obviously this has taken on a life of its own. And I hate to say this, and I hope nobody that lives there hears me this, but this almost looks like a favela or something because of all the different roofs and all the different things that they have. But I see this as an opportunity for this board and the city commission to get rid of this issue and have some good housing provided for these folks. Housing that is legal, that is safe. We all know that we've heard this over and over, the issues with the illegal apartments, the issues with the trailers and the police, and we've heard all that over and over. I guess the question is, will we be willing to go to the drawing board again and talk to the city to see if we can come up with a different number that will make everybody happy? I'm looking at my client.
Okay, let
Emmanuel
me-
Perez is with me, just.
While you chew on that for a
Okay.
second, let me ask you something real quick. You know, my memory goes back quite a bit, just like yours. Were you the representative for that property on West First and 28th corner,
Yes.
the corner little
Yes.
house?
Yes, I was.
Do you remember the whole ordeal
Yes,
behind
I
that?
Yes, I do.
Non-conforming
I
because
can't
of,
forget it.
well,
Yeah.
that's
Yes.
where I'm at. That's where my head is at. So, okay. So that being said, any more questions from the board? I'm going to open the floor to the audience. Anyone that want to say something for or against, please come up. Name and address, please.
Yes, my name is Armidia Osorio. And my address is 904 East 24th Street.
Okay.
And we are here because we are completely agree with el señor. Entonces, I want that my son read something that I read.
Hi, my name is Javier Guevara. I also live on 904 East 24th Street. We have a request to additionally include our address, which is a block closer to the station. It's actually just the next block into the transit-oriented development zoning district. It says, I am writing to respectfully request the inclusion of my property located at 904 East 24th Street, Hialeah, Florida 33013, in the transit-oriented development zoning district. My property is located in close proximity to 924 East 23rd Street, which is currently under consideration for rezoning to TOD. Given the location and similar neighborhood characteristics, I believe it would be appropriate and beneficial to include the property in the same zoning category. Allowing this change would promote consistency in land use, enhance the neighborhood's development, and support future improvements in alignment with TOD standards. Thank you for your time and
Okay,
consideration.
thank you. 1 second.
Through the chair?
I was just gonna,
Yes.
go ahead.
Exactly. So we are talking about a specific item. So please, if you can provide us with your name and phone number, and we will contact you to explain you what is the process that you need to follow if you would like your property to be considered as a TOD. Okay, so we'll take your name and number with the clerk, please.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with what
With
you
what
just
you just
said
said.
and did.
Mhm.
Absolutely nothing wrong. You're entitled to it. However, it is not the right time, format, because we are taking time away from an existing application, but you do have some grounds to stand on. Please, make an appointment with staff and bring it up to them. Okay?
Okay.
But we are agree with the area development. You know, we are neighbors and we live in the area like 30 years or more. And we are completely agree with the development of the area.
It would
Thank you.
enhance the consistency of the use of the land around.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Have a good night. Anyone else? Okay, Mr. Mystery. That closes the part of the public hearing. Oh, just in time.
On the advice of counsel, I plead the fifth. Just kidding. We're gonna request the table.
You're gonna request a
Yeah.
table? Okay, think about the outcome on 28th Street. You know, that was a heated,
I understand.
you came out on top, but there was a lot of ugly things that were said in that meeting, so. Oh, I'll be happy to, but not in this, not on the record. But, if you have a good memory, you know where I stand on that. Manny, Mr. Property Owner, sit down, have a cup of coffee, a little churro, a little chocolate, you know? Ooh, now see, now we're talking. Talk about it. See if there's a little bit of flexibility. Okay? All right, the applicant has requested a table. Second that motion? We need to have a date for,
Yeah, so our next meeting is August 13th.
That's fine.
Fine.
okay.
Okay, so motion by Mr. Mason, second by Mr. Ulysses. Welcome. Mrs. Enriquez?
Yes.
Mr. Morales?
Yes.
Mr. Mason?
Yes.
Mr. Iglesias?
Yes.
Mr. Perez?
Yes,
Item has been tabled until August 13th, 2025.
thank you.
Item number 6, rezoning property from R3 Multiple Family District to R35 Multiple Family District. Variance permit to allow front setback of 10 feet where 25 feet are required for the ground floor, allow front setback of 7 feet, whereas 25 feet are required for balconies fronting west side setback. West Second Avenue. Allow interior south side setback of 5 feet where 10 feet are required. Allow street side setback of 5.75 feet where 15 feet are required. Allow lot coverage of 41% where 30% is the minimum allowed. Allowed a 2-foot landscape buffer fronting West 27th Street where a minimum of 7-foot buffer is required. And allow 8 parking spaces where 10 parking spaces are required. Property is located at 190 West 27th Street, highly zoned R3, multiple family district. Applicant Vanessa M. Bertrand, PA, on behalf of FAT Investments LLC.
Good
Name and
afternoon.
address, please.
My name is Vanessa Bertrand. My address is 45 Almeria Avenue, Coral Gables, Florida.
Thank you.
Before I read into the record, this is an application that it has not been heard by the board before.
And the reason we say that is because we're rehearing some of the previously heard applications. The ones that have already been heard, we're familiar with. We just need to cross the Ts, dot the Is. Yours has not been heard, so you're granted a little bit more.
I get to show you something new.
There you go. Please. Okay, he's gonna read it in.
The property in this application is located at the southeast corner of West 27th Street and West 2nd Avenue and is currently improved with a single-family home constructed in 1944. According to Miami-Dade property appraisals records, the property is approximately 5,361 square feet, 0.12 acres of area, and designated as high-density residential on the city's future land use map and is currently zoned R3, multifamily district. The surrounding land use designations and zoning district are as follows. To the north, high-density residential, zone R3. To the east and south, medium-density residential, zone R3. And to the west, industrial zone. The applicant is before the city proposing to construct a 3-story, 4-unit multifamily residential building with a total building area of approximately 6,415 square feet of area. The ground floor will include Unit 1, which consists of 1 bedroom, 2 bathrooms, and a private garage. The second floor will house Unit 2 and a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom unit, and Unit 3, a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom unit. The third floor will contain Unit 4, a larger unit featuring 3 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms. The design incorporates private balconies, architectural screening, modern finishes, shared stairwells access, and a dedicated parking area is provided at the rear of the property. The applicant is requesting to rezone the property from R3 multifamily district to R3-5 multifamily district to accommodate the redevelopment of the site. In conjunction with this rezoning request, the applicant is seeking the following variances: a front setback of 10 feet where 25 feet are required for the ground floor, a front setback of 7 feet where 25 feet are required for balconies fronting West 2nd Avenue, an interior south setback of 5 feet where 10 feet are required, a street side setback of 5.75 feet where 15 are required, a lot coverage of 41% where 30 is the maximum permitted, a 2-foot landscaping buffer along the West 27th Street where a 7-foot landscaping buffer is required, and an 8 parking spaces where 10 are required. The request for the reduced landscaping buffer is intended to accommodate the proposed parking configuration and to provide sufficient space for the required dumpster enclosure. The surrounding properties to the north, south, and west are developed within multifamily residential structure, making the proposed development consistent with the existing neighborhood pattern. The project addresses the city's ongoing need for additional housing and aligns with the property high-density residential land use designation. Additionally, the proposed building height of 3-story complies with the maximum 5-story height permitted in the zoning district. It is important to note that the parking adjacent to the reduced landscaping buffer and at the northeast corner of the site encroaches into the required 10-foot visibility triangle. So to ensure both pedestrian and vehicular safety, this space shall be designated for compact vehicles only. Given the project compatibility with the surrounding neighborhood and the requested variances are appropriate in light of the site constraints, staff recommends approval with conditions. As a condition of approval during the site plan and concurrency review process, a revised site plan incorporating the proposed on-street parallel parking spaces, subject to the review and approval by the street department, shall be provided to help mitigate the on-site parking deficiency. Staff recommends approval with the following conditions. Staff shall be developed in substantial accordance with the submitted plans developed by Rosario Montero, PE, signed and dated on May 28, 2025. Parking space encouraging into the required 10-foot visibility triangle at the northeast corner of the site shall be designated for compact cars only to preserve visibility and safety, and a revised site plan showing proposed on-street parallel parking spaces shall be submitted during the site plan and concurrency review process, subject to review and approval by the street department. With these conditions, the proposed development is expected to have no negative impacts on the surrounding properties and will contribute positively to the residential character of the conditions. Recommendation approval with conditions.
Thank you, Claudia. All of that without having a sip of water. You did. Thank you. You have the floor.
I'm going to be very brief because why would I dispute with any of that? We agree and we're okay with that, but we do believe that the property is in alignment with the city's master plan. We think it's going to bring additional residents, living dwellings to the neighborhood, different diverse housing options. The infrastructure and the utilities are there. So it's pretty much, we think it's a perfect fit for the property. And so I will leave it to you.
Okay. Thank you. Comments or questions from the board? No comments or questions from the board. Anyone in the audience have a comment or question? I saw you moving your hand like we're on an auction. No? Okay. All right. Closest that part of the public hearing. What's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to approve with conditions.
Second that motion with
Okay.
conditions.
Okay, so we have a motion by Mrs. Enriquez, second by Mr. Iglesias and Mr. Mason. Mr. Morales?
Yes.
Mr. Perez?
Yes.
Mrs. Enriquez?
Yes.
Mr. Mason?
Yes.
Mr. Iglesias?
Yes.
Item has been approved with conditions.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Item number 7, rezoning property from R2, 1 and 2 Family Residential District to R33 Multiple Family District. Variance permit to allow rear setback of 17 feet where 20 feet are required. Allow interior west side setback of 4.8 feet where 10 feet are required. Allow interior east side setback of 7.5 feet where 10 feet are required. Allow 0 feet drainage separation at the west side of the property where 2 feet drainage separation is required. Allow lot coverage of 44% where 30% is the maximum allowed. Allow 3.2 feet setback from the right of way for the dumpster enclosure where 10 feet is required, and to allow 25% pervious area where 30% is the maximum required. Property is located at 29 East 16th Street, Hialeah zoned R2, 1 and 2 Family Residential District. Applicant, Manny Reyes, architect on behalf of 26 East 16th Street LLC.
You like that little area around there, don't you?
Sure, whatever. Yes.
Go ahead.
Manny Rose Architect with offices at 18501 Pines Boulevard, Suite 342, Pembroke Pines, Florida.
Thank you, sir. Go ahead.
And as I mentioned before, this item has been heard already by the board. The applicant is seeking to rezone the property located at 29 East 16th Street from R2, 1 and 2 Family Residential District to R33 Multifamily District to facilitate the development of a 3-story, 4 units multifamily building. The site area is 6,750 square feet and is currently developed within a 2-story duplex composed of 2 structures constructed in 1935 and 1980, according to Miami-Dade County Property Appraisal's records. The only available microfilms drawing that still exists pertain to the 2-story structure located at the north portion of the lot. This structure was originally designated with a garage on the first floor and the property legal second unit being on the second floor. However, upon further inspection, additional exterior doors were found on the building, suggesting that the site might now contain more units than originally permitted. No records or permits had been found for any exterior doors, installations, or any other modifications made to the property after 1979. Additionally, while the lot is currently zoned for duplex use, it is believed to have a minimum of 4 operating units, which will be in excess of what is allowed under the current zoning designation. Although the property is currently surrounded by on all sides by parcels on R2, it is located just 2 lots east of Palm Avenue, an active commercial corridor, and 1 lot away from a C1 zone parcel. The commercial corridor includes a mix of small businesses and service-oriented establishments that support a walkable, mixed-use neighborhood fabric. The property is also situated less than a mile, approximately 4 blocks from the Hialeah Metro Rail Station, offering residents convenient access to regional transit and supporting mobility options, and a lifestyle that aligns with the city goals for a connected urban development. The proposed development will consist of 4 residential units, all with 2 bedrooms, and the height will vary between 2 to 3 stories. All the residential units are developed as 2-story units, providing for a spacious loft between 1,326 to 1,451 square feet of living space. In addition, all units have balconies facing north, east, and south. Notably, the building includes a step down along the northern portion of the lot, minimizing shadow impacts and preserving privacy for adjacent lower density residential uses to the north. The project includes 8 surface parking spaces, which satisfies the city parking requirement by providing 2 parking spaces per unit, including 1 designated ADA space. Additional surface parking and landscaping will be provided within the front setback, helping to enhance the curb appeal and promote compatibility with the surrounding neighborhood. Although a formal landscape plan was not submitted at the time, it is expected that the site plan process will comply with all the applicable landscaping requirements, including planting buffers and frontage planting. If not, a tree mitigation will be required. The proposed structure demonstrates a commitment to context-sensitive design and urban character. The articulated facade features variation in massing and materials that align with the city's evolving design standards. To facilitate the project, the applicant is requesting the following variants: the rear setback of 17 feet where 20 feet are required, and interior west side setback of 4.8 feet where 10 feet are required, an interior east side setback of 6.5 feet where 10 feet are required, a 0-foot drainage separation on the west side where 2 feet are required, and a lot coverage of 44% where 30% is the maximum allowed, dumpster enclosure setback of 3.2 feet from the right-of-way where 10 feet are required, and 25% pervious area where 30 is the minimum required. These variants are typical for urban infill lots that are considered reasonable in light of the lot size, the modest scale of the building, and the project alignment within the city objective for neighborhood revitalization and transit-supporting housing. Overall, the proposed development presents a well-integrated, walkable, and conceptually appropriated infill project that promotes accessibility, housing variety, and architectural quality while reinforcing the involving mixed-use character of the surrounding area. In addition, the following conditions are to be considered to support the project: enter into a declaration of restriction stipulating that the development will consist of 4 residential units only to protect the design intent of the 2-story lofts units described on plans prepared, signed, and sealed by Manny Reyes Architecture and Space Planning, dated 4/23/2025. The project will maintain and protect the existing street tree located on the swelled area during construction, and at the site plan will provide a full landscaping and irrigation plan satisfying the minimum requirements. If not, landscape mitigation will be calculated. Staff recommends approval of the rezoning and the variances with conditions.
Thank you. Manny?
Yes, basically, this again is,
Excuse me. Now, this item has been heard before.
yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes. Basically, this is our 3-story in the front and 2 stories in the back, 4 units, 8 parking spaces, abutting property to the east. The setback is 8'7". There's a column that comes down only in the front, which is 6 foot something. And then the 4 foot something on the west side is to the steps of the open stairs. The building itself sits back 8 feet 4 inches. So basically, we believe that it's compatible with the area, and it's going to be an enhancement for the future developments that will happen along the downtown area of Hialeah. So I'm hereby requesting that you all review it again and give us your approval.
Thank you. Comments or questions?
To the chair.
Yes, sir.
Quick question. It says 0-foot drainage separation on the west side where 2 feet are required. How do you guys mitigate the drainage there?
Okay, that has already been revised on the construction documents, which are done for permitting. We're creating a 2-foot wide gravel area where the vehicle parks, it hits a bumper and then it projects over. I've already discussed it with the landscaping department for the city, and they're okay with it. So that will not exist anymore.
That wouldn't affect their property, any water runoff?
No.
So is it like a French drain type of thing?
No. It's a gravel area. And keep in mind that when the vehicle parks, the edge of the slab, the 6-inch concrete slab pitches back towards the center of the building underneath to the catch basin. So there'll never be a spillage over. Plus we have a gravel and then we have landscaping on the other side.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else? All right. Anyone in the audience would like to comment on this? Okay, name and address, please.
Okay, Bernardino Rodriguez, 35 East 16th Street. I'm the owner of the property and also my wife. And we have a problem with this. And actually, this is a textbook case of what density ought not to be. And as I've been reading these variants here, we can see that the setbacks have been decreasing and the property increasing in itself. Where on the west side used to be 10 feet, now it's going to be 4.8 feet. Where in the east side used to be 10 feet, now it's going to be 6.5 feet. Where the drainage is going to be on the west side used to be 2 feet, it's going to be now 0 feet. So they're talking about the drainage on the west side, and how about on the east side, there is no drainage. So what's going to happen is the water flowing from the west is going to flow to the east because the water will reach its level. Now, the property is going to be built from 30% as it used to be, and it will increase to 40%, 44%. And as you can see, that will increase the density of the population of the property itself. And that's basically over all this meeting, that was a concern of this council about the density. And, you know, they were thinking on talking about it as an issue.
Parking space.
And it's gonna go from the front. The front is gonna go from it's gonna be a 3-story high, and the building in the back is gonna be a 2-story height. So I would like to know, going back to also the density, how many how is going to be the layout of those building? How many is going to be a 3-2, 2-2, 1-1? How are they going to lay out? Because it will directly proportionally affect the number of parking spaces that they're going to be there and the number of people that are going to be living in that housing, in that multifamily housing. And that's primarily is a concern that I have.
Okay. Oh, man.
Thank you very much.
Your timing is, I do have one question for you and one question for you. What did you say your address was?
Well, I don't live in this place. I don't live at this place because this is a duplex that my wife and I own. So
Okay.
we're concerned about it. I live at 401 Totolochi Drive.
Okay, because that's previously, that's the address you gave us.
Exactly.
And now you're giving us
mistake.
this address.
Okay.
And
All right.
see what I'm saying? There's
But we clarify the address.
there's a conflict. Now, if you own this property and you live at Totolochi, that's fine. Congratulations, you own 2 properties. Beautiful. But I just want, for the record, I wanted to make sure that it's clear because before you gave us.
Exactly. And I'm not against progress. I'm for progress, but I wanted to do it the right way.
Okay. You see my
I understand.
my question.
I understand your question.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Manny, thank you. Manny,
May I clarify one of the comments that the gentleman
sure,
made?
go ahead.
Okay, there
It
are
may,
four,
it may probably be the answer that
okay,
that I'm
it's
looking
4
for.
2-bedroom units. And on both on the on the east side and on the west side, there's landscaping on both sides. So I don't understand where we're draining into next door properties.
Okay, and that goes right around to the heart of my question. The boundary line,
Property line.
property line. As far as the drain is concerned, the drainage, Are you proposing, and I don't recall seeing your plans here. Okay, so are you proposing like building a retaining wall?
Yes,
or
there's
something?
there's a
So-
wall, there's a wall that goes on the east side, west side, and on the north side.
That's my question, because if you do have, thank you. If you are building a retaining wall
Yes,
around the perimeter,
yes,
there's no spillage
of course.
to
But
the adjacent.
in addition to that, we're providing, whether it's landscaping or gravel
Mm.
to make it better for the drainage,
Okay.
for whatever. And it's pitching away anyways. It's going to be in the center, the catch basin.
Well, that was my question, because, you hit me with the gravel and right on between the concrete pad, the parking pad and the property line and gravel 2 feet and blah, 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 and all this.
Yes,
And then I said, well, wait a minute. That will be okay if you have a wall there, a retaining wall. So it would, the water, the leak, the spillage, what have you,
Mhm.
will be contained within the property.
right. And the 4 foot something distance on the west side is to the edge of the open stair steps.
Mm.
The buildings are 8 foot something on both east and west side, 17 feet in the back and 25 feet as per code on the front.
So basically, you just want to include the actual steps
Only
within
steps.
that variance.
Yeah, only the steps.
Only the steps. Okay, that clarifies a lot. Okay, thank you. Any more comments or questions from the board? Okay. Closes the public hearing. What's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to approve.
Do we have conditions?
Yes, sir.
With conditions.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
We have a motion by Mr. Iglesias, second by Mr. Mason. Mrs. Enrique?
Yes.
Mr. Morales?
Yes.
Mr. Mason?
Yes.
Mr. Iglesias?
Yes.
Mr. Perez?
Yes.
Item has been approved with condition.
Thank you. And my wife says hi.
Hey, Manny, tell her that. You know what? Can we take like a 2-minute break? Okay. Let's take a 2-minute recess, a nature break, okay? Okay, we will, thank you. Thank you. We will resume the meeting. Where were we? Next item will be item 8. Item number 8. Read it into the roster, please.
Item number 8, variance permit to allow a lot width of 50 feet or 75 feet is the minimum required. Allowed a total lot area of 6,400 square feet where 7,500 square feet is the minimum required. Allow one of the parking spaces to be located at the front setback where parking in the front setback is not allowed. Allowed a 2.6 feet landscape buffer where a minimum of 7 feet is required. Allowed a 10-foot wide two-way direction access way where a 20-foot wide two-way direction access way is required. And allow 18% pervious area where 20% is the minimum required. Property is located at 520 East 49th Street, Hialeah zoned RO Residential Office District. Applicant Frank De La Paz on behalf of Arno J. Lemus Jr.
Good evening, Frank De La Paz, 11,000 Southwest 104th Street, Miami, Florida.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, you all.
Through the chair, this item has been heard several times actually by this board. So this is going to be like the third time. The subject property is located on the south side of East 49th Street between East 5th Avenue and East 6th Avenue. The land was originally platted in 1925 as a 50-foot wide lot and has been developed as a one-story single-family home since 1948, according to Miami-Dade County records. In 1989, the property was rezoned from R1, one-family district, to RO, residential office district, through the City of Hialeah Ordinance number 89-99 and included several variances related to parking and setback reductions. The current land use designation of the property is residential office, consistent with the adjacent properties along 49th Street. The zoning classification is RO, Residential Office District, which is consistent. However, this property is still being used for residential purposes. The rezoning was approved with the intent that a rear portion of the structure will remain in residential use while the front portion will be used for office purposes. At the time, this configuration was consistent with the RO zoning designation, which permitted owner-occupied residences to incorporate office uses. The applicant previously appeared before the Planning and Zoning Board on May 28th for the variance request. The applicant is now returning to the variance to allow the 10-foot wide two-way access driveway where the 20-foot wide two-way access is required. This request is necessary to accommodate the vehicular circulation to the rear of the property where 5 parking spaces are proposed. The request stems from the closure of the 12-foot alley at the rear of the property through City of Hialeah Ordinance number 94-104, which eliminated the rear access. As a result, this site no longer has a functional access point from the alley, requiring an alternative solution. The applicant proposed to demolish the existing carport to the west side of the property to create a 10-foot wide access way, which will narrow the required and is the only feasible option given the limited lot width of 50 feet and site constraints. Staff recommends approval of the variances request to allow the 10-foot and on all the other requests, given that the site conditions created by the alley closure, the lot narrow width, and the limited impact on the surrounding properties. The proposed access way provide a reasonable functional alternative that supports continued use of the property. Staff recommends approval.
Thank you. Frank?
Oh, I agree with staff.
Enough said?
Any questions? I'll be happy to answer.
Okay, good. Comments or questions from the board? Anyone in the audience have a comment or question on this item? Close the part of public hearing. What's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to approve.
Second that motion?
Okay, so we have a motion by Mrs. Enriquez, second by Mr. Iglesias. Mr. Morales?
Yes.
Mr. Perez?
Yes.
Mr. Mason?
Yes.
Mrs. Enriquez?
Yes.
Mr. Iglesias?
Yes.
Item has been approved with condition.
Thank you very much.
Should we bring you back again on this item?
Well, if you want, I don't mind. I'll be back though.
Oh, you be here.
From August, I'll be back
Oh, you'll be here.
here.
Okay. And by the way, you do know you own this, right?
Yeah. Yes, it is part
you
of
go.
my house.
There you go.
By the way, and I have, since I'm one of the owners, I do hope now after November and we get a new mayor again, we will go back to my original complaint of
I had
4 years ago.
I had to
that
go
these
step in.
chambers need refurbished. the flooring needs to be fixed.
I had
And
to go step-
in ADA, accessibility should be improved.
Thank you, Frank. I stepped in that one, didn't I?
Yes, you did. Item number 9, conditional use permit to allow a kindergarten class with a maximum capacity of 26 students. Property is located at 3300 East 4th Avenue, units 9 to 10, Hialeah Zone C2, Liberal Retail Commercial District. Applicant, All Cruz, on behalf of Curious Minds Learning Center, Court.
Name and address, please.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, staff, and honorable council members or board members. My name is Al Cruz at 16259 Southwest 81st Street on behalf of Curious Minds.
Thank you. Good evening.
To the board, this is an item that it has been heard previously. This property is located on the northwest corner of the intersection of East 4th Avenue and 33th Street. This property has been developed with 2 detached one-story structure operating as a shopping center with approximately 7,350 square feet of commercial area since 1985, according to county and city records. There are currently no code, building, or fire violations on this property. The request of this application is applicable to units 9 and 10 only of the shopping center. In addition, there is currently operating a daycare within a standalone section of the shopping center, so the daycare's operation is to be maintained by completely independent from the educational operations. The applicant is requesting to allow the kindergarten classes within the units 9 and 10 of the shopping center with a maximum capacity of 26 students. The plans provided also show an area behind developed as an outdoor playground. This area shall be protected with bollards, especially towards the area with proximity to the parking lot. The operation of the educational component shall be maintained as a kindergarten only with no more than 26 students, since the parking area does not provide for an improved drop-off and pickup area in the case of an increased student population. In addition, even though this is standalone section of the shopping center, it still shares the parking lot area within the commercial section of the shopping center. There is a supermarket with an active BTR or occupational license and an inspection revealed that a sign for a smoke shop. However, no building permit or occupational license BTR for a smoke shop were found on city records. Therefore, there is not legal smoke shops within the vicinity of the proposed school, and a code case has been requested for the signs without building permits, and a notification has been sent to the BTR division for a possible operation of an unlicensed smoke shop at the location. Staff has the following conditions to the requested application: submit building permits for a change of use according to the plans submitted no later than 3 months from approval, and enter into a declaration of restriction prior second reading of the ordinance that restrict the maximum capacity of 26 school children in kindergarten only at unit 9 and 10 of the shopping center. With that, staff recommends approval with conditions.
Thank you. Okay.
All right, Mr. Chair, and board. Basically, this is a small shopping center that specifically has 2 bays, 9 and 10, a total of 760 square feet. And they just want to change from pre-K to kindergarten, but based on the new state laws as of 2018, they require them to become educational. So in a nutshell, that's where it is. There's plenty of parking. There's specific parking for drop off and pickup in this place as well. So we respectfully request a reapproval of approval.
A reapproval of the original approval. I hope we don't have to do this again. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Comments or questions from the board? Anyone in the audience would like to chime in? Closes the part of the public hearing. What's the pleasure of the board?
Motion
to approve
Second that motion with conditions.
with conditions.
Okay, so we have a motion by Mr. Alessio, second by Mrs. Enriquez. Mr. Perez?
Yes.
Mr. Mason?
Yes.
Mr. Iglesias?
Yes.
Mrs. Enriquez?
Yes.
Mr. Morales?
Yes.
Item has been approved with conditions.
Thank you for your time.
No, thank you for your time again.
Item number 10, special use permit to allow the expansion of the neighborhood business district overlay in relation to a proposed mixed-use development, including 32 residential units and approximately 3,520 square feet of commercial space. Variance permit to allow 56 parking spaces were, okay, so even though the agenda says 77 parking spaces, the applicant actually is proposing less retail space components to the project. So now it's gonna be less. So it's 65 parking spaces are required. Allow 21% pervious area where 30% is the minimum required. And variance to allow partial waiver of minimum landscape requirements through the landscape mitigation as per section 98-2235. Properties are located at 901 East Second Avenue and 925 East Second Avenue, Hialeah Zone CR Commercial Residential District. Applicant, Edna Morales Rodriguez as general partner of the Rodriguez Family LLLP and Enrique Rodriguez.
So you said they're still asking for 56 parking spaces?
Yeah, they are, yeah.
So the variance is a smaller variance?
It's a
Correct.
smaller
It's a smaller
variant.
variant.
Yeah.
So basically she just put a little bit of sugar on top, right?
There we go.
Okay, good deal. Okay, welcome back. Name and address, please.
Edna Morales Rodriguez, and I know some of you know me, some of you don't. So my residence is 901 East Second Avenue, also my office address. This time I'm just going to read to you guys. Okay?
Miss Edna, just give me 1 second. I'm going to read first and then you can
Okay,
read. Yes.
Yes, that's correct.
So
Sorry.
to the board, this is an item that it has been already heard, and as just Ms. Gatto read into the record, their parking requirements are less. Currently, the project has a smaller retail component requiring 65 parking spaces instead of 77. However, there's still a parking variance for 56 that they're providing. These properties are adjacent to each other, and both are currently developed. 901 East Second Avenue is the corner lot between East 9th Street and East Second Avenue. The lot is approximately 7,750 feet, and city records indicates 5 residential units and a commercial space has been approved over the years. The lot is a narrow one running east and west with a frontage of 45 feet towards East Second Avenue. So it is difficult to redevelop if it stands on its own. The adjacent north lot, known as 925 East Second Avenue, is approximately 13,500 square feet. City records indicate the property has been developed with a single family structure with a detached garage approved in 1950. Even though developed differently, both properties share the same central business district land use designation and the same zoning of CR, commercial residential. These properties are located at the northern boundary of the Hialeah Downtown Urban Center District. This application proposes assembling the lots to develop a unified project under the regulations of the Neighborhood Business District, NBD. Therefore, the applicant is requesting to extend the NBD overlay through a special use permit, SUP. The assemblage will create a 20,250 square foot lot with frontage to East 9th Street with which has an average daily traffic of 19,300 vehicles according to FDOT records. The proposal is for a 7-story mixed-use building with 1,650 square feet of commercial ground level with a parking in the rear, 2 additional parking levels, and 32 residential units from the 4th floor to the 7th floor. Residential units ranging from 1,000 square feet to 1,290 square feet, varying from 1 to 2 bedrooms, units are provided. The ground level is proposing an active commercial liner and a mural at the west elevation. The building placement is toward East 9th Street and East 2nd Avenue, providing all setbacks to the rear and to the east side, especially since the property to the north is zoned and developed as an R2. It is required that a CBS wall be built along the north side setback and a landscaping buffer is providing for privacy to the north residential properties. Access to the parking areas are along East 2nd Avenue with access to the ground parking level, which is proposed to have 16 parking spaces. Next to it is the garage access to the 2nd and 3rd floor level for a total of 40 parking spaces. The proposed parking count is not satisfying the minimum parking requirement of 65 parking spaces. So the applicant is requesting a parking variance providing 9 fewer parking spaces than required. Since the project is proposing 40 parking spaces for the 32 residential units, this will provide at least 1 parking space per residential unit with 8 parking spaces open to be shared. However, the project shall allow the residents to park at the first level if needed, since priority should be provided to its future residents. Therefore, the applicant shall enter into a declaration of restriction that if there is any vehicular impact to the surrounding areas, for example, parking on the swell or blocking sidewalks, the building shall establish a valet parking services during working hours to minimize the parking impacts so it can be maintained within the private parking facilities at all times. The project is also requesting a reduction of the pervious areas to 22% where 30 is required. It is important to reiterate that to the north and east side shall include a lush landscaping buffer to improve privacy to the one-story buildings adjacent to the proposed improvements. In addition to increase the density and height, the following incentive points are provided to comply with the regulations. Mixed-use building and pedestrian-oriented ground level gives you 1 point. Parking located in the rear and blocked from street view, it's 1 point. Significant amenities, a mural by an artist is 1 point, and the redevelopment of corner site gives you 1 point. The total amounts of points is sufficient to comply with the requested height and density increase. If any of these points are not able to be provided, the applicant shall provide a replacement prior site plan approval. They propose as an improvement to the area, which will provide amenities for the overall area, and similar lots along the corridor have requested the expansions of the NBD that have produced successful projects in the near vicinity. However, the parking must be in check, so no negative impacts are felt within the surrounding neighborhood. Therefore, the following conditions are required. Provide a declaration of restriction and unity of title to include timelines for redevelopment, and valet services are required if any parking overflow occurs. Truck loading and unloading is to occur within the designated loading areas at all times. Applicant is also proffering 2 residential units to be rented at an affordable rate of no more than 100% of AMI, and sidewalks and curbs need to be redone along East 9th Street and East 2nd Avenue to eliminate parking on the sidewalk, and a CBS wall 6 feet high is required along the north side of the property line. Lush landscaping is to be provided along the north side and east side, and the project shall be developed according to the plan submitted by Ibello Architects LLC, signed and dated June 16, 2025. And staff recommends approval with the conditions to the SUP and variances.
Thank you. We have letter of objection.
Yes, we have 2 letters of objections.
Okay, you mind reading them in, please?
The first letter. To whom it may concern, please do not allow any variances at the above addresses as for parking. Parking is already very limited as it is on East 10th Street between East 1st Avenue and East 3rd Avenue. On any given afternoon, you can plainly watch cars struggling now to find parking spaces to get into their homes. If this variance is granted, the homeowners in the area will end up parking on the street, which will be very dangerous as children also play outside. Our duplex located at 210 East 10th Street and 212 East 10th Street only provides 4 parking spots. When our tenants have guests, they struggle to find parking as it is now. We have no issue with the new construction of this commercial space. We are just convinced that parking needs to be provided within the same space. As a retired electrical contractor and electrical inspector, I have seen many mistakes happen on properties that have variances given after the fact. We hope that that doesn't happen here. Parking is difficult as it is now. An additional 9% increase as they have requested will definitely mean cars will be parking on our neighborhood streets in our already too few parking spots. Sincerely, Mark Billets, 782 Rio Vista Drive, Miami Springs, Florida. The second one. To whom it may concern, this letter is to officially voice my objection to allow a lower 58 spaces where a minimum of 77 parking spaces would be required. Okay, so for the record, this is an old letter, so the requirement, it has changed. This will be a mixed-use development, including 32 residential units and approximately 3,600 square feet of commercial space at the properties located at 901 East 2nd Avenue and 925 East 2nd Avenue, Hialeah, Florida, 33010. I feel this is gross neglect by the city of Hialeah to allow this to happen. Nowadays, most households of 2 adult, 1-bedroom apartments require 2 parking spaces, not to mention visitors. Public transportation in Miami-Dade County is the worst in the nation, though creating the need for multi-vehicle in a single household. This will mean that you will need at least 64 parking spaces for tenants and some additional spaces for visitors. Now add to the equation the commercial spaces. If you have 2 different businesses renting spaces, they would have at least a couple of employees each running the business. And they would have customers, clients, patients in and out at different hours of the day. If you allowed the lower ratio of parking spaces, where would all these people park? The city already has parking issues with the older buildings not having enough parking spaces, and you are looking at creating more issues with a lack of parking. Thank you for taking in consideration my letter. Christina Novoa, owner of 230 East 9th Street. And that is all.
Yes.
Okay, good evening. Okay, that second letter was the letter sent originally at our prior hearing, okay? So, I would like to address first the parking issue. Number one is we've reduced it, obviously. It was 77 that were required due to the fact that we've taken our retail, reduced the sizes and added amenities. So that also is an incentive point that wasn't included before, but putting that aside, just wanted to let you know, okay, this is what we'll plan on doing. What we want to do is the 24 units that are 1,000 square feet, all of our apartments are going to be assigned parking spots. That's number one. So instead of valet, maybe we can have a guarantee that we will enforce our parking assignments. All of our parking spots, the 24 units that are 1,000 square feet will be assigned one parking spot. The 8 units of 1,200 square feet will be assigned 2. That provides a total of 40 parking spaces, which is covered between the second and the third floor, thereby leaving the first floor for commercial, we only need 8, okay? However, we have 16. So we have 8 extra parking spots on the first floor, which we can give priority to our tenants. Also, this guest parking spots are 4, so we have 4 plus 8 is 12 additional. I mean, I know it doesn't count that way because it's for guests, but I'm just letting you know that we're gonna have assigned parking spots. And with the 40 that are there, we'll definitely be the tenants parking there. On the first floor, we have 16, where we only require 8 because we've reduced and diminished the size of the retails. And we added amenities for our tenants. So that's how we would like to address the parking concerns.
Okay. Did you, I know we talked about this in the last meeting. Did you, read and understand the conditions that the planner has brought forth on your?
Yes, we do. We did. I understand that in the north part of the property, we need the 6-foot wall with that bush area for privacy. I also wanted to express that the fact that our setbacks are greater than what is required. Therefore, if a car can squeeze in there, it can squeeze in there. We will, if there's a negative impact, we're gonna assign parking spots. We still have additional room here to wiggle with, which I doubt. I mean, I understand, I live there, so I know the fact that 10th Street may have, an excess of or a lack of parking spaces because they have multiple duplexes back there, but they have multiple families as well.
I just wanted to reiterate and make sure that you,
I understand.
because since, this is for lack of a better word, this is an old application or a revisited application, to make sure that you understood that there were some conditions implied and they still apply,
Yeah.
and that you're good with them, then we can proceed.
Well, I kind of given the fact that you requested the valet, we're no longer gonna have a restaurant on the first floor. And I was kind of counting on my restaurant to include the valet. If we have assigned parking spots, maybe we can do a declaration that will assign parking spots for all the tenants, as I suggested, as opposed to a valet. Because honestly speaking, I was gonna do a restaurant on the first floor, on the west side, I believe it was. But if I'm not gonna have a restaurant, then, and also the restaurant caused it, because it requires per 150 feet, a parking space. That's what reduced it so much, thank God. But anyway, what I'm saying is that maybe we can just make sure that our tenants have assigned parking spots. We have actually 8 extra on the first floor because we reduced the commercial space, and we have 4 guest parking spots. So basically we have 32 units. We have 40 residential between the second and the third, 8 extra on the bottom, and and 4 for guest parking spots.
Yeah,
Thank you.
through the chair.
Yes.
With that explanation and the removal of the restaurant, instead of requesting or imposing a condition of the valet, we can do as she mentioned, to include a parking management plan within the declaration of restrictions. So if you agree with that, we'll draft that language within the declaration of restrictions.
Sounds good.
Yes. Mhm.
Thank you. That's
You
exactly what I want.
so we want to proceed with that new language then?
Yes.
Okay,
That
Good.
condition, yeah, the restriction to include a building management plan. They're all gonna manage my property.
A parking management.
That's my management company there. My son,
a Louisville slugger over the shoulder, you know.
my granddaughter back here, she's one of 2 twins.
Okay, comments or questions from the board?
I want you to know that I've lived in Hialeah since 79. All these children were born and raised in Hialeah, and my grandchildren born and raised in Hialeah. So Hialeah is very important to us, and Hialeah 2050.
There you go.
There you go. And I think we've got a good foothold on that.
You
through the
have a
chair-
question?
Yes. What kind of retail are you gonna have down there?
Downstairs, I'm hoping to have like a.
Can you speak into the microphone, please?
I potentially may have, obviously, we're keeping it in the family, a beauty spa.
Ooh.
Yeah, a beauty spa for nails. Show me your nails. She's a technician. My granddaughter is a nurse practitioner, and she's taking up, like for all those cosmetic, enhancing types of stuff. And she's a nurse practitioner. She's studying. She's going to graduate now.
Thank you.
So it's a family business. It's a family affair.
Family, that's an old song.
Yes, it was
What?
no song.
Sly and the Family Stone.
You're telling them how old we are.
Oh, they know.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Any
thank
more
you.
comments or questions? Anyone in the audience? Close the part of the public hearing. What's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to approve.
Second that motion?
Okay, we had a motion by Mrs. Enriquez, second by Mr.
Okay.
Iglesias.
Before
With
you take,
condition.
before you,
I'm sorry about that. With conditions, remember that.
yeah. With the revised.
With the
Okay.
revised.
Yes, sir.
conditions.
Okay,
Go ahead.
Mr. Mason,
Yes.
Mr. Iglesias,
Yes.
Mrs. Enriquez,
Yes.
Mr. Morales,
Yes.
Mr. Perez.
Yes.
Item has been approved and revised.
So we're confirming my approval? Yes. Thank you very much.
Reconfirming your confirmation. There you go. There was a young lady a while ago that had a comment saying straight out of Hialeah. If you know what that means. No, okay, well, good. We're not gonna go there. Straight there? No.
You're welcome. Item number 11, special use permit to allow the operation of a solid waste intermodal rail facility in conjunction with the existing solid waste collection operated by Waste Connections of Florida. Variance permit to allow the expansion of a legal non-conforming use established within the M1 Industrial District zoning district, and to allow 6.6 pervious area where 10% is the minimum required. Properties are located at 4150 Northwest 37th Court, 4170 Northwest 37th Court, 4180 Northwest 37th Court, 4204 Northwest 37th Court, 3757 Northwest 38th Street, 3828 Northwest 37th Court, 4100 Northwest 37th Court, and 4070 Northwest 37th Court. Zoned my M1 Industrial District. Applicant Melissa Tapanes Yahuas Esquire on behalf of West Connections of Florida, Inc.
Name and address, please.
Good evening, Melissa Tapanes, 200 South Biscayne Boulevard, Miami.
Are you gonna talk some trash tonight?
Talking some technology improvements to the
No.
great city of Hialeah. Absolutely.
Right? That's what the application is about.
Yes, it is. We all have it, don't we?
Also to the board, this is an item that it has been heard, and also a declaration of restriction since then it has been drafted and is part now of the package. This application pertains to a property located within the following boundaries: Northwest 37th Court to the east, Northwest 38th Street to the south, and CSX Railroad tracks to the west, and Northwest 43th Street to the north. The property is adjacent to the Tri-Rail Market Station and encompasses approximately 7.12 acres. The property has been developed since 1945, and it has been used for industrial purposes. The current land use is classified as industrial, and the zoning designation is M1 Industrial District. Currently, the property is held under a unity of title recorded in Book 33954, pages 4283-4287, according to Miami-Dade County records, and identified by folio number 04-312-0018-0030. Therefore, the request under this application is being made using that address and folio as a unified property. This unified property has a long-standing business history within the city, including a settlement agreement reached out in May 2022 between the city and BFI Waste Systems of North America, Inc., pursuant to case number 02-1899-CA23 in the Circuit Court of the 11th Judicial Circuit. The settlement addresses the company's failure to correct code compliance violations related to property maintenance. Additionally, the unified property has maintained active business tax receipts, BTRs, for solid waste activities. BTR number 562211A8 for solid waste collection and disposal, active since 1997, and BTR number 562211B1 for solid waste recycling system, active since 1989. Although the current uses of the properties are not permitted under the M1 zoning designation, they had been continuously established and maintained, thereby presenting the unified property legal nonconformity status. The relevant license had been transferred to Waste Connections of Florida, Inc. The recycling and solid waste operation are fully contained within the unified property. The unified property contains a series of buildings and structures that are part of the submitted package. As per the demolition plans, the open-air recycling structures are to be removed, and the new rail transfer facility will be built in its place. The remaining buildings and structure are to stay, and a series of improvements throughout the site are part of the site plan. Staff visited the site on March 19, 2025, and observed a series of opportunities to improve the site, including drainage, pavement, landscaping, fences, and more. Based on the site visits, the building identified as 4070 hosts the most impactful operation. This is where the solid waste disposal occurred and is improved with a scented misting system that is quite strong. Therefore, proposed conditions are to curtail the stronger smell by increasing the vegetative screening along the unified property, specifically along the entire western property line, using mature street species that can provide immediate coverage and assist the visual and other impacts from the operation. This application seeks approval to allow the operation of a new solid waste intermodal rail facility in conjunction with the existing solid waste operation. As such, a special use permit, SUP, and a variance to expand the legal non-conforming use are being requested. According to the applicant, the recycling operation at this location will cease, and the site will instead focus on the solid waste disposal and rail transfers activities. Currently, the solid waste disposal operation processes approximately 6,847 tons of solid waste per week, all of which is transported by site by truck. Approximately 25% of the loads originated from the city of Hialeah, with the remaining coming from haulers within the Miami area and Miami-Dade County. The new rail transfer operations are proposed to bring by truck to the site tarped full containers that will be sealed on site and carried onto the rail tracks for departure to a landfill. Then the empty containers will come back to the unified property. City staff requested the applicant to assess the potential traffic impacts of the proposed transfer facilities on local streets and the surrounding road network. According to both the applicant and the city's traffic consultant, the new rail operations are expected to result in a modest reduction in truck traffic along the truck routes evaluated in the traffic review. Given the negative impacts typically associated with this type of operation, as well as past experiences with previous solid waste providers at this location, and in light of local and regional concerns following the fire and the commissioning of the county resource recovery facility operated by Covanta in February 2023, staff requested a comprehensive set of supporting documents. These documents are included as part of this report. Number one, response to comment dated April 25, 2025. and Hialeah Campus Operational Plan, and Miami-Dade County and West Connection Agreements, and BFI and City of Hialeah Settlement Agreements, 2002, and City Traffic Consultant Study Review dated May 19, 2025. These documents reflect the existing and new operations in detail from the hour of operations, quantity of solid waste received, process and transfer, employment impacts, maintenance, and the commitment from the applicant and operator to maintain the existing and new operations in an improved state than the existing conditions. As mentioned above, the property is located adjacent to the CSX railroad tracks and the Trailhead Market Station to the west. In 2016, the city adopted an innovative land use plan aimed to increase development entitlements for properties surrounding the market station. This plan established a transit-oriented development TOD district, leveraging proximity to existing transportation infrastructure to encourage higher density and mixed-use development. To date, several TOD projects have been approved and are currently under permitting review with the city and external agencies. Additionally, to the north and east of the subject property lies an active industrial area that provides employment opportunities for the local community. In alignment with this context, the city's long-term vision has been to support redevelopment opportunities while remaining committed to maintaining and enhancing the area's industrial character. However, these planning goals often create conflicting priorities. Mixed-use and residential redevelopment projects typically have different expectations and needs compared to industrial uses, which require robust infrastructure to support their operational demands. To mitigate the potential impacts of the proposed expansion of the solid waste operation, both current and future, city staff recommends the following condition. Any substantial increase, 20% or more, of the current weekly solid waste tonnage operation plus the proposed daily tons per day for the intermodal will require a revised traffic analysis and operation plan to the city. And increase the landscaping buffering along the west side of the property and modify the proposed west fence for a solid wall similar to the existing wall to the east side of the property and counter design from the proposed site plan included in Exhibit A. And seek the potential to permit and construct a rail track pedestrian crossing to facilitate connectivity between the trial rail station and the subject property. Site visits indicated that there is pedestrian activity crossing. See the conceptual drawing, and submit a progress and maintenance report annually to the City Council every June on all the accepted conditions, improvements, and pending items. The report needs to include any code and/or building and business license violation status, if any. And the city and the Waste Connection facility or their successors agree that the parties shall consider terminating or modifying the solid waste disposal operations from the Hialeah campus by 2055, or when the MDC New Waste to Energy facility becomes operational and solid waste capacity is available, whichever occur first. With those conditions, the staff recommends approval.
Thank you. Melissa?
Thank you very much. That was a very detailed report. We've been here and presented our project in the past. I'm happy to do that again today at the will of the board.
Either one of you were not?
I believe that, yes, I don't believe that you were here. So I'm happy to make the presentation again.
Well, I was gonna say, save the presentation, but if you were not present during her original presentation, it might be.
We went over.
Yeah, I was going.
Sorry, we went over it with detail. You're free to go ahead and go, but I mean, I feel like we're all possibly on the same page as far as like what we know about the project.
Okay,
So
if you want to just give us a nickel tour.
Absolutely. So the goal of this application is over the last several years, we've been creating a master plan campus for Waste Connections. It was assembled piecemeal throughout many years, and the goal is to create one unified site plan. That's what's presented to the city of Hialeah as part of us bringing the property into today's code, and that's the reason for the request. We are increasing landscaping and demolishing our existing material resource recovery or recycling center. The reason why it's a reduction in traffic is because today that recycling center brings independent haulers every day, and what we're doing is demolishing those existing structures, which I think it's fair to call an eyesore, especially if you're looking at it towards the east from the new TOD area all those buildings are coming down. And in its place, it's all going to be basically containers that are sealed while they're awaiting transfer back to the county facilities. And the reduction of traffic is because now we don't have trucks coming in and out for recycling. We basically have one truck dropping off a container, picking up a clean container and taking it back to be filled. So it's, in my view, it's creating a state-of-the-art facility here. And I think it's important to note that the property is zoned M1, so railroad stations are allowed as of right. The difference here is that it is in fact solid waste that we're dealing with. And in my opinion, it's wonderful to get it out of Miami-Dade County elsewhere. Regardless of whether there's an incinerator or a landfill, it's better to get it out. And fortunately for us, there are other communities in North Florida willing to take our solid waste. So we think that this is just simply bringing this property into today's code. We're proud that it is more consistent with the TOD to our west. We're working with those developers to make sure that they're comfortable with this, and we're working on that covenant that's already been proffered. As it relates to the conditions written or spoken into the record, my understanding is that we've drafted those conditions into the covenant so that the covenant language would trump basically the language that you've written as conditions.
And through the chair, based on further discussion, there is one additional condition that no overnight tarped containers shall remain on site, that all containers shall be sealed the same date of arrival.
Absolutely. And those are the kinds of items that we'll be bringing back to you as we're working with the community to make sure that we're ready for city council in the months to come. Thank you. There was also one additional condition that was imposed by the Planning and Zoning Board, which was that there would be no misters within. To us, that's obvious because there's no additional buildings, but we're happy to accept that condition, and it's already part of the draft covenant as well.
You're still going to have nightly transportation out of here?
Absolutely. Yes, that is a CSX operation, that the containers will be placed on the rail cars during regular business hours, and the same train that comes every night today will be picking up those rail cars on their way up north.
Good deal. Thank you.
Thank you.
Comments or questions?
Yeah, is this the same, I guess, garbage area by the Tri-Rail, like by Home Depot around there?
Yes,
That's the same
exactly.
one?
So this is the parking, this is the right across the railroad tracks from the market station.
That's the
Right. So today there is the transfer station, which will remain. That's the one that Waste Connections is the city's hauler. So that will remain. And what is being demolished is what's to the north of the site, which is the recycling center, as well as the actual where it's a shelter basically, and that recycling gets sorted on the ground. So the big thing about this facility is all that recycling, that 75% of it is typically contaminated and then needs to be moved manually to the solid waste facility that's across that campus is now eliminated. So no more trash on the ground. These are sealed containers. Many were able to witness that this is a state-of-the-art container. It's actually what's used today in New York City to transfer bulk trash on the Hudson River, and it passes all those EPA regulations. So I think that this is a simple application in the sense that we're just growing up as a city and making all this trash disappear magically elsewhere.
That's great, because that's like a nice little area, and it's going to be developed. It's going to be nicer. It's going to be upgraded. So
Absolutely.
mitigate the smell.
Exactly. Thank you.
Now you
that's
see why the comment of she's going to talk some trash tonight.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Alrighty, let's open the floor for public hearing. Name and address, please.
Good evening, everybody. I know it's late. We need Cuban coffee, but we're going to go on. Jose Aldi, 788 Southeast Park Drive. I want to start talking first to Mr. Morales and Ms. Enriquez. I know you're new to this, and it's very common for the lobbyists, right? They come here to present this great picture. We've seen it before with different projects, you know, but the problem is they don't want to put it in writing, right? Like they don't want to put in writing the trucks are going to be sealed. There's a condition that if it goes more than 20%, they only have to do a traffic study. Yet the traffic study says it's going to be less trucks. Right now, if you go on 38th Court, between 9 a.m. and 11, there's like 11 trucks parked on the street or more. So one of the conditions I put there is that they have to park in their own property. But I want to give you an overview on this property. That's why I wanted to talk to you about the street that we gave away. It's very valuable. On that street, the Tri-Rail is right here. Home Depot. Prestige Builders is going to invest $35 million on a gated community. Factory Town is 2 blocks north. The company from Factory Town, they're associated with Arva Jane, a big developer. They've bought like 15 properties and they're buying properties there. If you go on 37th Avenue, it's brand new. The county just made the whole 37th Avenue brand new. There's 2 high-end furniture stores. And you see all these, it's no longer industrial. They're just buying it all out. That's going to be the next Wynwood. So you weren't here for Factory Town, just got approved to build 11-story parking lot right in front of Factory Town. And they've already bought 15 properties there, and they bought properties next to this. So what kind of development do we want, right? Do we want like Factory Town? That's going to be the next Wynwood. And how is this going to impact that? Do we really want this to grow? What I asked you, right, it's just beautiful. You know, all these developers are professional speakers. They do all that. One of the things I wanted to talk about earlier, which I know I'm not going to have time, which that orange sign that they put, one of the things that was recommended to Mr. Magrisso, the ethics department, was to make it in English and Spanish. And that QR code that we have a QR code, it has no information on anything. It just lands you to a landing page. So we know this is going to get a lot of media coverage. This is a huge project, 8 properties. This is going to get a lot of media coverage, right? Because nobody wants more trash in their neighborhood. So I just ask that you put a covenant that they're not going to increase it. You know, 75% of this is not Hialeah. It's trash from other places. She mentioned we're going to get Dade County trash. We're Hialeah. We should do what's best for Hialeah, right? So I please ask you to put a covenant that they're not going to increase the trash they're going to bring there, you know, and they cover those things. But all these promises that they made, all these agreements, I ask that you put it in writing. Mr. Perez, can you give me 30 more seconds?
30 seconds.
Yeah, I want to talk about the ordinance. I'm going to give you the ordinance of the signs. You know, people here, like I knock on so many doors, like the business owner in front of this trash, they were going to come, but people are scared. I don't know, not that you scare people, just people think that they come here and the city's going to go after them. They're talking bad about the mayor, blah, blah. It's crazy. Like, it's not crazy, but that's how people really think, right? And you see the neighbors when they come, like the residents, it's very scary to come here. You know, you come for the first time, you see a board, you see the seal. This is like, wow, this is like court, you know? So I just hope that one of the things you hope you do, Mrs. Howson, is educate the public more, right? I asked her for a public meeting. I asked her to answer questions in the email that I gave you a copy of. She didn't, no public meeting, no answers to the questions, you know. Yeah, she comes up here like she's being transparent. She's telling everybody. The reason you see nobody here is because one, they're scared, and one, they don't know about it. This is such a huge project, right? I think it will get some media coverage, but Mrs. Hasman, if you could do anything, is please, you know, inform the residents more, and I appreciate for giving me the extra 1 minute, Mr. Perez.
Thank you. Okay. Anyone else?
Can I give you the ordinance?
I think you did. Oh. Oh, okay. Thank you. Melissa?
Thank you. Obviously, all of our submittals are in writing. All the questions have been answered. We have gone through a very diligent process. Obviously, the mayor, and your administration is very interested in this project. We did earn a support letter from former Mayor Steve Bovo as part of this process to go through Miami-Dade County and obtain the approvals that we need through the city of Hialeah, because it is such an important project. With that said, as it relates to media coverage, everyone has been very positive once they learn about this project. I did respond to Mr. Ozzy's email. I did provide my availability for meetings. He did not reply to those meetings. As it relates to both the developers that were mentioned, we are in communication with those developers, and they are not in opposition of this project. They're working with us because they see that solid waste is not just a neighborhood issue. It's not just a city issue. It's a regional, county, and state issue. Just like this solid waste from the city of Hialeah is going to go to North Florida, right? The solid waste is much more than just block by block. So we're very proud of this application and the work we've done with your administration, and we respectfully request your recommendation for approval again tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Claudia, is there any amendments that should be made to her application? Any covenants or anything, or does it meet all the?
Mr. President, I forgot to put this for public record. Sorry.
We received that. We have
No,
it.
no, this is a full email exchange with the developer lobbyist, and she's not saying the truth. This is
We have it here.
We have it.
No, this is a full email exchange. She said that she met with us and she proposed, this is a full exchange. She wasn't saying the truth. That's
Okay,
the whole.
for the record. Okay, thank you.
Just, honesty is honesty.
Yeah, thank you.
To your question, we cover basically all the conditions to make these projects according to what the city intends to see in the property. So if the board considers any other suggestions, we can discuss it. But as of now, we have include everything that we could think of.
Through the chair, I think the key is there is a covenant. It was said that there is no covenant. There is definitely a covenant.
To the record, there is a draft covenant.
Correct.
That right there.
Exactly. And we are working to answer anybody's comments as part of that covenant as we work with the community, including Mr. Ozzy, if he would actually provide comments.
Good deal. Okay, are we good? No comments, requests? You good, Mr. Ozzy? Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Closes the part of public hearing. What's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to approve. Second.
With
conditions.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Iglesias, second by Mr. Mason. Mrs. Enriquez?
Yes.
Mr. Morales?
Yes.
Mr. Iglesias?
Yes.
Mr. Perez?
Yes,
Mr. Mason?
Yes.
Item has been approved with conditions.
Thank you.
thank you.
Miscellaneous item not requiring advertising. Item number 12, tentative plat of 235 North Parcel Extension.
Through the chair, this tentative plat received the following comments from the plat committee, from the Department of Water and Sewer. There is an existing 8-inch water main abutting the property along West 75th Place and West Second Court. There is an existing 8-inch gravity sewer main abutting the property along West 75th Place and West 8th Court, and sanitary sewer flow goes to pump station number 30-348, which is in okay status. And if there is any change of use approval, it's required that the City of Hialeah approval from the Department of Public Works and Durham. The Street Department Division also has comments. I'm sorry, does not oppose the tentative plat. However, a sign and seal site plan, paving and dredge paving will be required before the final plat is issued. The remaining departments, they have no objections, and the staff from the planning and zoning has no objections for the tentative plat.
Thank you. Comments or questions? You've been awfully quiet today. You have not said a word. Say something. Something, okay. All right, what's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to approve.
Second.
that motion.
Okay, so we had a motion by Mr. Mason, second by Mr. Iglesias and Mrs. Enriquez. Mr. Morales?
Yes.
Mr. Perez?
Yes.
Mrs. Enriquez?
Yes.
Mr. Mason?
Yes.
Mr. Iglesias?
Yes.
Okay, a tentative plat has been approved, subject to comments. Item number 13, final plat of safely stored tracks.
And as read into the record, this is the final plat and no comments from any of the departments for this final plat.
Motion to approve?
There you go.
Second.
Okay,
Alex.
we had a motion from Mrs. Enriquez, second from Mr. Mason. Mr. Perez?
Yes.
Mr. Iglesias?
Yes.
Mr. Mason?
Yes.
Mr. Morales?
Yes.
Mrs. Enriquez?
Yes.
Item has been approved. Item number 14, old business. Okay, no old business. Item number 15, new business.
In the new business section, I would like to thank all the board members for coming in during our recess. I could have been at the keys. Okay. I had reservation for the keys, but you know what? Duty calls.
Come over.
So thank you all for coming in and helping the city out with.
And from staff also, thank you to the board. We appreciate it. And we promise you that we won't see you until August 13.
Oh, okay. If there's nothing else, okay, meeting's adjourned. With technical difficulties and all.